The beginning of the end and the start of a new beginning. Time has come to redefine yourself and to let go of the demons in your head that have held you in captivity for so long. It's time to flip the page and prove them wrong. It's time for rebirth. Yeah, time's up to say goodbye to all the haters, doubters, and non-believers trying to bring you down. In the blink of an eye, you'll realize that there's so much more to the book than the page you were stuck on. Finally, you will feel free to live a life you love living instead of the life you think other people want you to live. Remember, you are the highest authority when it comes to knowing what you want and what you love. So stop trading yourself for the approval from others. Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a I don't give a fuck. 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 It's time to start doing the right thing. So trust your instinct, stop listening to others, and own your decisions. People will always tell you what to do, meaning and how to live. So let's create space for what matters most to you. You'll be glad you did. Now start reclaiming your time and your mental well-being by saying no more. No more. Say it loudly and proudly. In other words, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
Target acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike, you have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. How is everyone today? Let's go, let's go, let's go. I see Anson Knowles out there typing in Klingon or something. I don't know. I don't know what he's got going on. Afternoon, the Farney. How are you? Good to see you. Doing better now. Awesome, man. Well, you can come up here in just a couple minutes. Let me get the show started, and we're going to talk about the green new steel today, guys. The green new steel, and if you're not familiar with that, there used to be. Well, it is not used to be. There's been for a while now the Green New Deal, right? And the Green New Deal was based around the idea of a lot of environmental concerns, solar, cars that run on batteries, things like that, all the nonsense. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. Also, guys, we need to enhance the grift today. The grift has been has been good, but I feel like that. Feel like we need to enhance the grift. I feel like I'm slacking a little bit. I don't grift enough, and I need to get better at it. So if at all possible, I will do so. And the for right now, yeah, it's gonna be a good day. I think we should have a great conversation about this. This is one of those things, guys, where I feel like that most of the time there's there's this idea that people have about what the Green New Deal is, what the what environmental science is, how things happen, and all of that. And I don't believe that we actually understand it. Yes, please hit the like on the way in. Do the like, the share, the subscribe, all of those things. If you can become a member, please consider doing so. It's about the cost of a cup of coffee for the month. And it certainly helps me out. YouTube likes to see engagement, and that's one of the ways that they do, in fact, measure engagement. So that's cool stuff. And yeah, we're going to get this going. I'm going to continue my little bit of warm up monologue here, and remind once again. The TTS has been lowered to like $10. It does activate pretty quickly now. I don't know. There seems to be a delay timer built into it. I'm not really sure why that is. It just is what it is. And we'll get that worked out. And yeah, it'll be great. It's going to be a good conversation today. If you're coming over, or if you're also watching Glenn's stream, there seems to be a new troll in town. I honestly believe that guy's a troll. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. What else is there today? Had a good morning. Went to the gym. Got a good workout in. Came back. Had what passes for breakfast, which was bacon, and not much else. And now we're going to. We're gonna dive into this show shortly here. How is everybody out in the chat today? You guys doing good? You reasonably engaged? Anson Knowles, is that Morse code? Are you using a Morse code translator like the ham radio guys use? That's enough of that. Welcome, TR Finley. Good to see you out in the chat today. How are you today? Just going to be chilling here for a minute. See how everything's going. So there's it looks like looks like got some stuff going on. Let's see who else in the chat. Let's see. Obviously, Anson Knowles and his Morse code. TR Finley, the Farney, who hopefully will be on stage here shortly. Mr. Adam Ant, and that seems like about it right now. Good to see you, TR Finley. That's really happy. Really happy to see everybody. So, yeah, I don't have any way of copying them, but I figured that it's been a while since I've had to try and read Morse code, so I'm not even going to bother. I can't do it. What's up, Imperious? Glad to see you. Happy to see the Imperious in the chat today. I'm sure he will keep it exciting out there for you guys. Good to see you, Dwayne Martin. Good to see you. News cycle has been exceedingly crazy the last few days, Mr. And we're going to dig into it very shortly. I'm going to start up. I'm kind of waiting for people to fill the fill the chat, but so I don't have to kind of say things 2 or 3 times. I mean, between the release of Destiny's private thoughts, I guess you would say, by a thought, that's a THOT. Between that and, you know, we've had a lot of just whirlwind stuff going on. It's man, it's crazy. It's been crazy. Been crazy week. Pardon me, weekend. And I've been busy all weekend. I honestly haven't had a lot of time. You know, of course, I did the show on Saturday. Glad you guys were there for that. But son, you know, yesterday I didn't do anything. I had it was my son's 4th birthday, and you know, we did the birthday thing for a 4-year-old. Took him to the the trampoline place. Did all the things, man. He had cake, all of it. He did all of it, and he had a great time yesterday. But I checked out from all of this stuff. I get home last night and or yesterday afternoon, and I finally get a few minutes to, you know, start weeding through the massive amounts of nonsense that I get every day. And man, let me tell you, bro, thank you, Mr. Boulay, for allowing the show to begin. Mr. Boulay has decreed the show shall begin, and so it shall, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so I get in last night, and right away, we start just absolutely. I mean, pardon me. My wife and I start looking over this stuff, and the news yesterday is really crazy. You know, of course, we have Getz now coming out and saying that the whole thing was planned. It was which, I mean, whether or not you believe that or not, it kind of makes sense that, you know, that it was all a ruse, right? Like it was all, you know, a good way to, it was a good way to get Getz into a position to be nominated. And it led up to a more palatable choice. Right. Plan to flesh out rhinos. I mean, it definitely, those who squealed loudest are probably going to go the way. Yep. Damien, so I liked Getz for it. But we also did say that, or at least a lot of my chat said that that this was a shit test to see who was going to stand behind Trump's agenda. And again, it was a real deal. And so that was great. It was great to see. The enemy was indeed, and they had to, right? Like they couldn't stay silent because staying silent would have been even worse. So it was a great tactic. I don't know if it was Trump's tactic, but it was a great tactic. And whoever did, in fact, roll with that tactic, made a great choice. And so I really enjoyed it. It was awesome. So I don't know. I think it was really a good deal. And I think that there's going to be the replacement for Getz is really good. I think that a lot of the initial releases were shit testing to see who was going to say what, and it was great. It's been really great. And so we're really happy. You know, I'm really happy to see how it goes forward. Guys, I apologize for being a little bit distracted. I have people messaging me on Discord, and I just have to look away for a minute to see that. Farney, you have the link, by the way. I've also caught most of the debates between Andrew and Speakeasy and the Furby. The Furby needs to take a break from the internet. The Furby got absolutely demolished 2 times in a row. Although to be honest with you, I don't think Speakeasy's performance was quite the dunk destruction of the Furby that Andrews was. It was really truly great to see that happening, and I for one, really really pretty happy with the way that that went. That's I can't. While it's obviously my first choice would be that we do not encourage the Furby at all. Being able to engage with the Furby in the debates over first the trans issue in and of itself, and then um, the the, uh, the children issue, which I find very distasteful in and of itself. The fact that the Furby is so comfortable and confident in talking about kids in a very specific uh, sexual manner is very distasteful to me. It seems to me to be very it's the word I'm looking for, Farney.
I think what you're trying to say is that you're very ageist.
Yeah, it's just.
Are you telling me there can't be 10-year-olds that are mature enough to partake in that action?
I'm very ageist when it comes to kids, and moreover, I'm murderous when it comes to my kids. So, just to put it out there,
I actually watched Furby through this on Easies. That's the whole reason that it even came out that way, because I was saying like, okay, so the whole point of even bringing this up is like, so if they're mature enough at 9 years old, is it okay? 8 years old, 7, 6, 5, and you keep going down, right? And he never gives a fine line in the sand. It's like, this is the whole point that Easy was trying to make out, is like, you gotta have some sort of line, otherwise you have no line.
Yeah, my problem with Furby is that they seem to that it seems to think a lot about children and them being trans, and I find that super odd for someone that A, doesn't have children, and B, has guaranteed that it can never have children.
Well, I think what will help you perhaps as well as other people understand, because they like to oversimplify the reasonings for why somebody may be trans, right? And one of the easiest ways to look at it is often the reason is because they're trying to like recapture the prepubescent kind of life. And so they don't really identify themselves as being any different than a child. Yeah. Now, it's not absolute, but I've noticed that with a lot of them. They have a lot of very childlike tendencies, interests,
Yeah. I just find it very disturbing. I just on a lot of levels, like not only as a father, but just as a man. And one of the things I think that I find most disturbing is that someone that has made an actual considered decision to never be able to have children wants to talk to other people about how they should have children.
Yeah. As well as like an advocate for pro-choice and stuff.
Right. And this is someone who is literally, guys, I want you to think about this for a minute. Women, try not to picture this. He had his testicles removed.
Yeah.
You think about that for a minute. That's a definition of insanity to me. Like, there's no way, bro. Like, there's no way.
That's what makes it
that's
so
a mental illness. That's self-harm.
That's what kind of like pulls at me when I'm trying to talk to them, because usually I have like this kind of attitude of, like you can pull people back and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But it's like it eliminates so much like talking points to them, because it's like you've already made a decision that there's no turning back from, kind of thing,
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's pretty sad, because high probability that they will regret it later in life if they haven't already.
Well,
And they're
again,
just coping, you know.
I think the cope is that they say the positive sorry, I got distracted 1 second. The positive rate of decision, self-decision amongst that group of people, the cope around it is that they're not accepted. But I honestly believe the cope around it is that they are accepted to the point that they make very poor choices and then have to live with them. And like anyone else that makes poor choices, you're left with very few options later. That's my observation. I could be wrong. I don't think I am. And suck it if you think I am. That's okay. That's all I have to say. Welcome, Michelle, to the show.
Hi.
How are you? Abusing
well.
that mod privilege. I like it.
Mhm. Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. I just jumped right in. It was. I'm like, oh, it sounds serious
about
too.
The Furby. We're
Okay.
talking about the Furby debating Andrew one night, and he bodied, absolutely destroyed the Furby and made the Furby look like a raving lunatic at the same time.
Mhm.
The next night, Speakeasy doesn't body the Furby quite as hard, but still the Furby lost on every point, I felt. In my point of view, or you know, listening to both arguments, I can't see anywhere where the Furby could say that it won a point on anything. It repeated a lot of the same points over and over, but it didn't necessarily win. So, any thoughts on that, Michelle?
I really desperately have been making a concern, like a
you're
effort.
really low. Let me see if I can boost you a little bit here.
Okay.
Try again.
Is this better?
That is way better.
Okay. I have been making a concerted effort to literally not listen to anything the Furby has to say. So
yeah. You know, the thing is that it just keeps appearing in places I go.
Yeah, I get that, and yeah, sometimes they'll follow you, and it's really frustrating. And you got to find new places to go hang out, and make new friends, and widen that sphere a bit. But yeah, like it's been everywhere, and I don't want any part of the conversation at all of the topics that the Furby likes to bring up. It bothers me.
Yeah.
I think you're starting to see that my advice is pretty good, Grin. When I told you don't platform Furby, it's not worth it. So if you just stop them on basically any point they ever make, I'd say maybe about like 2% of what they say is actually factual and true. Just stop on any point. Just pick anyone and actually research it. And they're full of shit. they don't tell the truth. So if you like, I could go through a specific one that they love to bring up all the time.
Well, actually, what I was going to talk about today, and I don't know, I mean, I know you're Canadian, and so you're really not part of this, but I know that Trudeau is ruining your lives too, so maybe there's part of this that affects you. But so if you'll remember back to when Obama was in office and AOC came aboard, and they started talking about this Green New Deal. You ever heard this term, Green New Deal?
Yeah, if I recall correctly, wasn't it like part of the Paris Accord?
Yes, it was part of the Paris Accord that Trump ignored and didn't even go.
So, surprisingly enough, it is actually related to the Furby.
Is it really?
I actually pulled up stats when you said about the Green New Deal, because a lot of these things like carbon taxes,
Mhm.
a good portion of the money actually goes to funding these ideologies. It has
Sure.
nothing to do with actual environmental actions.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, let me just get the proper name
Well,
for you
while
here.
you're doing that, I'm
Yeah.
gonna just kind of ramble on here for just 1 minute or two.
Yep.
And basically, so Obama left office and Trump came in, and Trump put a stop effectively to the Green New Deal. Now, I couldn't stop it completely, but he effectively stopped it for 4 years. The minute Biden's back in office, the Green New Deal is back rolling hardcore, and they're doubling down on electric cars, solar, wind, all of the things that more and more people are coming to realize are absolutely ridiculous. So there's a company called Northvolt, and I'm sure you've never heard of them. And they make batteries for electric cars, specifically, I believe, for Toyota, Ford, Honda, and a couple of other European brands. Peugeot made, I know Scania, which is Mercedes, and a couple of other Europeans. And they declared bankruptcy on Friday. It's about $5.5 billion that they owe, that they're in debt. About 900 million of it came through Goldman Sachs. Another up to about $3 billion came from American banks and lending and investing institutions into this Norwegian company. It's based in Norway and up in the that's why it's called Northvolt, because it's way up there. And they've absolutely taken the L, and they're taking a lot of people with them right now. And all the battery technology, all of the things that they promised, they never were able to deliver. So one of the things that you're seeing broad scope across the board is that, and I know I'm going to have to repeat this later in the podcast, but I'm going to say it now, and we'll move forward. But one of the things you're seeing now is that investors are not investing in green companies. They're not investing in renewable energy. They're not investing in basically any of it. One of the things, the carbon tax, you mentioned that's an interesting thing, because Trump has said that he is going to regulate the carbon tax, and they're actually going to a new system, which is a little bit better. And but they obviously it's not done yet. It may not happen, all that sort of thing. But Trump is very much sees the carbon tax, carbon credit thing for what it is. The carbon credit is a way to transfer wealth between companies, massive amounts of wealth. And so it's a very interesting thing that we're going through right now with this Green New Deal, which is why I'm calling it the Green New Steel, because literally billions of dollars have been invested into these areas, and almost zero money has been returned to the public. All the solar companies, Vestas, all of them, most of them are underwater. The only company that has not really taken government, I mean, they took a little bit of government subsidies anywhere they could, like any smart person would, but they really haven't looked at taking investor monies and not delivering. The only company that's done that is Tesla. Every other company, Rivian, all of them, Toyota. The reason that Toyota, Hyundai, and all of these other companies are moving away from pure EVs is because the battery technology sucks, and they can't get good pricing on the batteries. And now all of this house of cards that has siphoned off billions of dollars out of our economy, out of taxpayer money, and out of the investment pool, right? So those dollars, those billions of dollars that were invested in these companies, once that money's gone now, it's been redistributed elsewhere. And unfortunately, most of it is not coming back to America anytime soon. So this is it's a great time to be alive to see just how ineffective liberal policies really, truly are. And with that, Farney, man, give us the stats, bro. I see you're ready.
Yeah, bro. So right from the get-go, when they first put in the carbon tax in Canada, I read what it was and was furious because a huge chunk of it has nothing to do with helping the environment. And they claim, like, you know, carbon is the biggest, baddest thing. It's causing climate change and all this stuff. If it is the biggest, baddest thing, then shouldn't all the money that's collected from carbon tax go to it? But no, it's going to things like household rebates, support for vulnerable sectors, social programs, gender equality initiatives, economic empowerment initiatives, administrative costs, political messaging, and advocacy. And one of those programs, to get like even more deep into it, for the gender equality one, is the Feminist International Assistance Policy, which has as their core action areas gender equality and empowerment of women and girls, human dignity, growth that works for everyone, environment and climate action, which under that it says integrates gender considerations into climate action strategies. So I guess they must be talking about how like makeup's horrible for the environment and stuff like that. And tampons and stuff, you know, disposable like feminine hygiene products. So, you know, these, if they truly are environmental activists, they should really be using Diva cups, you know, reusable feminine hygiene products. Focuses on enhancing women's resilience to climate change and their leadership roles in mitigation efforts. And inclusive governance and peace and security supports women as peace builders in fragile states affected by violent conflict, advances women's rights in post-conflict recovery efforts, and then allocates over 150 million over 5 years to support local women organizations in developing countries, aims to strengthen women's rights movements and enhance their capacity. So I don't know if anybody out there forgets the topic. We're talking about the Green New Deal and carbon tax and
Right.
stuff.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know
so
if anything I
green
just
that
said confused
the
you
only
on
color
that.
green is the money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and yeah, perhaps some other place based on the promiscuity that they have.
Right. And it's pretty crazy. It's really it started out as a cash grab, which turned into just a funding of companies, and basically any company that said they had a global, you know, climate initiative, wind, solar, whatever, hydroelectric, whatever, you know, concern, they were getting money. And the battery companies, I think, are the worst because battery technology, we it has been the mantra for 2 decades, maybe 3, that the way forward with EV vehicles is all about the battery technology, right? Like you can't have EV planes because the batteries are too heavy and they don't last long enough, and the power requirements are too high. So they built brushless motors, right? They built the motors got better, more powerful, lower current demands, and much higher efficiency and less heat, right? And so the motors got better, and then okay, well the batteries suck, so the batteries got lighter. The batteries got that they last longer. They have a greater power density. But even as good as they are right now, the power density is such that it just doesn't matter. You still can't do it. You still, even EVs, you can't charge EVs fast enough to make it worthwhile to go across country. Um, it's a very interesting dynamic, right? But there are people who are now willing, and just to prove a point. Actually, I had a friend of mine who lives in Texas did a cross country trip, and the
Your mic cut out, man, for a bit there. after you said that just did a trip.
It's a super chat.
Yeah. Good deal. Yeah, no, it's a TTS, so it read it. You guys can't hear it. You're not on YouTube.
My bad. I don't hear it in this
I can hear
area.
it because it comes through on my side, but unless you have YouTube open, you can't hear the TTS. So it read it. Thank you for the $10, Mr. Boulay. I really appreciate the donation. By the way, my son's birthday is 4 was yesterday, so he also had a really great birthday. He had a lot of fun. He did all of the cool stuff that kids do. We went to the trampoline place.
Oh yeah.
Urban Air or whatever they call it, and they did all of that really cool stuff yesterday. Had cake. He played with his friends. It was a long day for the little guy, and he had just a lot of. He had a piano lesson. He had all the things yesterday.
That's awesome, man. Happy belated to your boy, and happy birthday to
Mr. Fredo Fonzarelli. So that's pretty cool. The ticky tack I see out there, no matter how much battery tech improves, it will still be a block of metal, also known as weight. Well, they're not even using metal anymore. They're using like sintered lithium, which weighs almost nothing, but the energy density is pretty good. But they burn up, right? So you don't put flammable items that explode when they come into contact with water into airplanes.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever see in China, they got like EVs like blowing up all over the place all the time.
Well, I mean, they do here too. We just don't publicize it as much, but it's an interesting dynamic. The most interesting thing to me is the fact that we have so much money tied up in this stuff, and yet we just keep doing it. Although right now it's incredibly hard to get someone to give you money if for an EV company or basically any Green New Deal sort of industry. And they've walked back everything, right? Like they were banning internal combustion engines, and now they're not doing that, right? We'll see. We'll see how it goes going forward. But politically, financially, for now, the Green New Steel it's very apparent that it was steel, that it was just a cash grab across the board. Joe Mobley shows Saab with their magnesium-cooled turbo engines. Mine spontaneously combusted 2003, Saab 93 blow up in 2012. So, BMW has a magnesium engine as well, and it will also burn to the ground if you manage to catch it on fire. So don't do that.
Yeah, that just sounds like a bad idea. Magnesium for your car.
Yeah, well, Porsche did it back in the 60s, but that's Porsche. BMW, Chevrolet, Saab, they probably ought not be messing with it. That's an advanced skill.
I did want to just give an update on this for what I was mentioning earlier.
Yeah, go ahead.
So in April 2023, Canada announced another $195 million over 5 years and $43 million annually thereafter for the renewed women's voice and leadership program under like carbon tax stuff. So,
right. Yeah. I mean, all of the money goes to things that you normally wouldn't support and couldn't finance itself.
Yeah. And so I know because nobody really cares about Canadian politics, but you probably have heard of Mr. Poilievre, right? Pierre Poilievre. When you hear about the conservative leader in Canada, they literally are running on axe the tax. So they're looking to get rid of this stupid, evil tax. So that is why, like, if you hear Canadians talk, one of the biggest reasons why they support Poilievre is because we're sick of this. We're not like idiots about this. It's just that they have a coalition in Canada where they have 3 parties that are all working together to block out the Conservative Party. So they don't even have a majority government. They have a minority government, but it's all these woke, like 2 woke parties, the NDP and the Liberal Party. They have a coalition, and then the Bloc Québécois, which only give a crap about Quebec and nobody else, they're keeping those people in power, and they're doing it through like kind of blackmail things, like you give us what we want, or we're going to call for a non-confidence vote and get you out of office. So just a little like sidetrack there, but yeah.
I always wondered what would happen if the U.S. told Canada to get their political house in order, or we would turn off power from Niagara up.
Well, in all fairness, you guys do get a lot of power from us too. So under this, and this does tie in, like I said, there's so much nonsense of this up here. We built like an insane amount of wind turbines in Alberta, and it was under the guise that it was going to go back to the citizens of Alberta, right? But instead, a high majority of it, I think it's 80% plus, all gets just sold down to California, and then the citizens there don't even ever get any sort of cheaper energy or anything like they were promised, and now it's just this ugly eyesore of all these wind turbines all over the land.
Well, that's really how it goes, man. So like when I was in Colorado, the energy company there, which is, now I can't think of it, what it's called. I can picture their logo, but they're based in Texas, right? And they basically came in and said, hey, we're going to build if Colorado citizens will vote to add a whatever fee onto the energy bill every month, then we would then that would help finance the $1 billion wind farm projects they had in Kansas. And that energy would then be sold at a cheaper rate to Colorado citizens. And so, the bill would be, you're going to pay $20 a month more now, but it's going to go down by $40 or more in the future. And for some stupid ass reason, Coloradans voted that through. They never have done that. The wind farm got built. They had the what am I trying to think of here? They received the $1 billion, whatever it was, from the taxes over the 5 or 6 years that they did it. The wind farm got built. The bill never changed. Matter of fact, it went up all the time. And it was so aggravating. When I lived there, it was like, it just made me so angry, man.
Yeah, people really need to wake up that like we need smaller government and stop trusting the government with all these extra things that the government has no business even partaking in. They
Especially
always
when
cost more, take longer, poorer quality. Like it's just foolish to have basically anything that doesn't need to go through the government go through the government. Like I get it, some things need to, such as like military, for example.
Yeah, and we should especially not trust the government when they're in bed with corporate entities.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like that's immediately a bad sign. So, but yeah, I remember that, and it's the same thing everywhere. Now in some states, like in Tennessee, we had a bridge tax for a while. That bridge tax was literally for roads and bridges, to repair roads and bridges. That's what it was used for. And when that program ended, the tax ended, right? Like it's just how that worked. And my state is actually really interesting in that, for the most part, we operate at a budget surplus, which means that the tax money we receive, that the state receives from its citizens and other programs, is greater than what we spend. And so it's, which is, I think, the way all the states should be. But you look at California, and California would cease to exist if you cut off federal funding to California. They say, well, we have the third largest economy in the world, or whatever, fourth largest, whatever it is. Yeah, you do, because you're sucking everyone else's tax dollars up to fund it. So I think that every state should receive no federal funding for anything. I think that's a bad idea. So that's just my own opinion.
What are your thoughts for like abnormal things such as like a relief fund for like hurricane or other natural disasters?
You know, I'm on the fence about that. I'm on the fence about it because when we start talking about natural disasters and that sort of thing, first of all, it's always interesting to me that the taxpayer ends up paying so much, but yet you can't have a mortgage without relatively expensive insurance, right? And so the insurance, so what you're saying is that these people are paying $2,000 a year, whatever it is a year. All of these hundreds of thousands of people pay all this money into insurance, but when it comes time, when it's a natural disaster, they don't have to pay out. And that seems odd to me. That seems like the fix is in. I just look back. How did we deal with it 100 years ago, 200 years ago?
Yeah, like for me personally, I'm against that. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on it. I think that that should be up to the states. They're the ones that have to deal with these things. It's not like these natural disasters are unheard of in these states, right? They're common occurrences, right? So they should be.
Wait, hold on. Texas insurance in Florida does pay for natural disasters. So what's all the government? What's all the money go for that we send down there? Help me out, Ticky Tack. Come up, Ticky Tack, and talk to us about this.
Yeah, so I think like that is on the state to have like an emergency fund for these types of things. In addition to the fact that you should be taking measures to lessen the damage when these things happen. So, for example, with the whole with the whole New Orleans thing, like, why didn't they build dikes there? Like,
why didn't they maintain the dikes they had?
Yeah, exactly. Like, why? Like, what is it? The Netherlands is like way below sea level, and they've been fine for all these like hundreds of years. Like, why don't they do that type of stuff over here, right? It makes no sense other than people are just filling their pockets instead of doing the right thing.
Yeah, no, that's true. Let me throw this at you because I like where your head's at. And I like what Michigan Christians say that, the women's are the one who mostly push for bigger government, but I don't necessarily believe that that's 100% the case.
I'll silence that. Sorry.
My perception is, and again, look, it's really hard to say because you have so many people, so many different aspects of government. It's very confusing, which is the way they want it. They want it to be confusing because if it's you cannot, you can't keep track of it, right? And so it's hard to, it's really hard to figure out what is what. Welcome the great Joe Mobley to the show.
Welcome, Joe.
Is your mic on?
You're muted, bro. Or something's not coming through here.
And we've got Ticky Tack in as well. Still no mic, Joe.
Welcome, Ticky Tack.
How's it going?
I think that I think that part of what you're saying there, Glenn, where they're trying to like do this nebulous kind of thing where it's tough to like nail down anything by having these different levels of government that are gigantic and all that. I think that's similar to things like the way that they hide things in bills, right? So kind of like the carbon tax, right? They hid all this other crap in the bill, and unless you're somebody like me, which your average citizen doesn't look into,
that's the thing, right? So it sounded really good. By the way, welcome to all of the people who are all the raiders from Glenn's stream. I appreciate you coming over, Farney. Yes, you said Glenn instead of Grid. That's okay. That is perfectly fine. If you haven't subscribed, if you're coming in, you haven't subscribed. subscribe, like, do all of the things, share the stream if you have somewhere to share it. We really appreciate it. So, Farney, what I want to just jump back to that. So, one of the interesting things to me is they hide this stuff in the bills, but more than that, they not only hide the how much you're actually paying, they hide where it's going, why it's there, and you don't know. A lot of times they will straight up tell you that you don't know, or that they don't know where the money is going. They just know that it needs to be spent. And so you don't know that, there's not $1 million in there for what's her name to get her hair or nails done, Pelosi.
Or for Trudeau to spend over $5,000 on a brass bathtub in New York.
Right, absolutely. Oh, and Mikey Balls has rated us as well. Awesome, bro. Awesome. Thank you. I do appreciate that. That's great. I like Mikey Balls is a great dude. Can we hear you yet?
Yeah. Roll. You should.
Go.
Yep. Yeah, we hear you, bro.
Joe, how are you, bro?
I'm good. I'm on my lunch break and I got a meeting here and very soon. But I wanted to, just because I happened to get this on camera, I wanted to show you what went down with my sob because it was ridiculous, dude.
Okay, yeah. Throw that up.
So and the CYA, because I just got done with the workout, so which is why I'm wearing this shirt. So the CYA, just a guy on the internet representing myself, not representing Deloitte or its member firms. And so there we go.
That's okay.
But yeah, this is the damage. So I'm trying to find a video. I have a video of when they're first hitting it with the water and it explodes and it knocks the front firefighter to his butt. He said some words. I said some words. I was across the street. Let me just mute it though. Because it's kind of loud. But this is afterward when they've got like the sand or whatever they're hitting it with now. But dude, look at this freaking. This is how it. Yeah, this is how it ended. The steel part of the bumper like fused to the license plate. The hood exploded, so this is like a shard. Here, it used to be up here to the right of the. Oh, my mouse isn't showing because I have it disappeared. Yeah, but the windshield melted down. The whole inside of the car was just like a total loss. It started up here.
That is impressive.
Yeah,
at least it was in your driveway.
Yeah, if we didn't have these railroad ties in front of the house, it would have. After the brake lines melted, it would have rolled right into the house. But dude, I was still a deputy, working night shift, it's a 14 hour shift. I get home, my wife's out working at the coffee shop, and you got to do like a prisoner. You got to like strip down, take off your Batman belt, all that crap, put it in the laundry pile, get in the shower. I would eat what was my dinner, but I'd be eating it at like 7 or 8 a.m. And then I'd go to bed. I'm like, yes, getting ready to get in the shower. Boom, 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 boom on the door. I'm like, oh, it's going down. Someone's followed me home. Like I get my Glock, I go to the door, look through the people, no one there. I just see smoke billowing out of my car. Then I go back, put the Glock down, grab the fire extinguisher. I hear boom, boom, boom again. I look at the peephole, no one there again. I open the door and they're like these 12-foot flames. So I toss the extinguisher, grab the dog, get out of the house. This is a picture of when they hit it with the water, but I have a video. I'm just trying to find it.
Yeah, that's what magnesium does when you hit it with water. Water is great, but not for magnesium.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it one of those magnesium ones?
Yeah.
Awesome. In one of the previous pictures, I started getting my tinfoil hat on because, that one with the guy standing there with the close-up, it had the like antenna on the roof above his head. It was the other picture. It was like one before, maybe that one. Yeah, makes it look like he has antennas, right? Seems like an alien conspiracy going on here, boys.
Let's keep the tinfoil hats somewhere else in another pile.
But
I had to make the comment.
I always tell people everything. It was so hot in there.
that's
The
scary,
front
man.
tires that like melted down, everything in the car, the trunk, total loss. But this Bible was in there. It's the craziest thing. And it's like charred on the inside of the Bible. This used to be like bright teal, and it's like noticeably like charred out on the inside. There's my personal phone number, I guess, if anyone wants to stalk
They have
me.
to blow it up. You have to really blow it up.
Yeah, but this bad boy survived, so I still keep this as my
Yeah,
old.
that's why I don't do electric cars. That's why I don't do electric cars. Everybody keeps telling me to get an electric car, and I'm like, nah, I don't think so. Lithium.
Dude, I had no idea. It was off. The car was off. The turbo timer was running. So it had to have happened within 10 minutes of shutting it down.
Yeah. That's pretty impressive, because to get a magnesium engine block to burn takes a lot of heat. So that's.
I doubt the smoke
We
is very
still don't know.
environmentally friendly coming off of that fire too.
Oh no, the front yard smelled gnarly. They had hazmat. They had hazmat come out. Insurance company paid for it, and they raked all that gravel, and they took it away, and they
Took it away.
Wow, dude.
Insurance paid for the re-graveling of that. We were renting this duplex.
So, I want to move along with the topic a little bit. The gravel thing's fascinating, but Joe, what do you think about the Green New Steel? What do you think about all the money that's been spent, billions of dollars, untotaled, by the way, because it's so spread out amongst multiple bills, multiple companies? What do you think about how that's all coming to fruition right now, with companies like Northvolt having declared bankruptcy over the weekend? Their major battery supplier, and they are apparently they're $5 billion. It was their funding, and they have a severe liquidity problem, which you would think with $5 billion you wouldn't have, but you do. So what do you think, Joe? Where are you at on this?
You and Farney hit it on the head like 10 minutes ago. Total cash grab. And one of the ways that you can tell it's clear, one of you said, I forget which one, apologies, just the length of these bills and how obfuscated they are. When you look at Nancy Mace's bathroom bill, it's 3 pages, and it's got the statement, the summary, it's got the terms, it's got.
I'm going to be debating that tonight, by the way.
It's yes, this is what a bill should be. A bill should be less than 10 pages, just pure. Yeah. This is what it is. A short little white paper, an easy high school, college essay, easy to digest, defining terms, just boom. These omnibus type bills, whenever you see it, you know it's 900 pages to facilitate the bull crap. We also know a couple of other pieces. Every time I drive through Kentucky or Tennessee and see the power plants yielding essentially nothing, we know, everyone in energy knows that nuclear is the key. Minimal waste, incredible
thorium salt reactors are like the wave of the future. Why we don't have one of those in every county in America, I do not know.
Yeah, especially with the
combination
metal cooling, it's a lot safer now. Like,
thorium salt reactors can't melt down anyway.
I could give you the reason why thorium's not very viable. It's so first it takes a month for it to reach criticality. So basically you'd have a power plant sitting for a month before it starts generating the energy that it needs to supply. Second, there's an issue on filtering the contaminants, the spent fuel from the process. You literally have to drain the whole thing. You have to ship it out to get reprocessed and then refill it, which then you have to essentially reboot it and wait another month for it to cycle. This has been the problem since the 50s when it was being researched, and nobody has solved it.
The thorium salt reactors are like the really small reactors that are like super safe, can't melt down, all of that.
Oh yeah, it's all of that's true. The issue is that it would have to charge up for like a minimum of 3 weeks, then it starts producing energy. After that peak of a month, then the energy declines, and you essentially have to wait for it to fizzle out and then replace it. There's just a lot of logistics where it's like you'll have way too much periods of time of downtime where it's just like it wouldn't be practical Whereas
I thought they had a workaround on that.
no,
Yeah, sorry, my
Actually, Mr.
comment
Boulay
was
is
to
challenging
nuclear.
you on that. He says technology has improved the thorium reactor. I thought so too. I actually I really should mark this stuff. I should like create a folder of cool shit I read.
You need a tab or a spreadsheet. I started it too late, and now I have sources and I number them out so
2 years
I
ago
can
I
ping
read
them to an episode.
Yeah,
So-
2 years ago I read about the advancement in thorium salt. I think there was like a community in Utah somewhere that was going to use them, and it was denied by the state for some reason.
My vote would be to invest into what's called pebble reactors, where they essentially have the fissile material in ceramic balls, and then they float around into a molten salt reactor, because that way you can actually extract out the ceramic balls much easier and just replace them in the process.
What's that one called, bro?
It's called the pebble reactor.
Okay. I want to look into this stuff because I am very ignorant on this.
Well, at any rate, there is the state of nuclear energy is ridiculously safe now. It's so clean. There's no reason not to do it, other than all of back in the 60s, all the flower childs hated nuclear, and now that legacy remains.
Yeah.
Well, it's propaganda. Love it or hate it, it is far outlived. It's essentially like China right now. China one-child policy has been done for a long time. There's still a stigma amongst the Chinese about having more than one child, about having a daughter. The propaganda is the boot that like never gets off the neck. Like it's that meme with the person holding the boot on their neck. The close-up looks like tyranny, but then when you zoom out, it's like this person's holding a boot in a fist on their face.
So before getting too far away, I did want to mention this about the obfuscation with making bills incredibly complicated. Yeah, this is me promoting Pierre again. So Pierre Poilievre, I did remember this. I verified it. He actually has expressed one of the things he wants to do if he gets into power is a commitment to making legislation more clear and simple to understand. And he criticized the government's approach to policy making, suggesting that many bills are overly complex and lack clarity.
Yeah, add a page limit.
That's based.
Pierre is based like crazy.
That is based. I like that.
He's so based. When he answers the reporters, they ask these ridiculous questions, and he just says yes or no. Next question. I'm like, come on, son.
I have long had this this idea that that no bill should be longer than 3 or 4 pages. Period. If it needs to be on there, if you can't say it in 3 or 4 pages, make a new bill.
Exactly. Yes, I agree.
And if for some reason it's so complicated that mere mortals can't understand it, then mere mortals should not be voting on it.
It has to be similar to I don't know if this connection is going to be completely good, but take it kind of like prophecy, right? It can't be so vague that it could mean basically anything. It has to have at least enough precision where if the bill actually did what it's supposed to do, you could understand like, yeah, that's exactly what it was supposed to do. Because it's so vague, the language they have, like especially with like our gender policies, like our hate speech laws and stuff. It's so vague that you can basically take anything that anyone says at any time and fit it under that bill.
So I would, if I were king president for a day or for 2 weeks, I'd need 2 weeks. There'd be a couple of things that would be non-negotiable. First, all bills would have to be written in plain language, like a contract, 3 to maybe 4 pages long, and they would have to have a sunset date, every single one, to where it would expire and have to either be renewed, or it would expire and go away forever.
Yeah, I'd be on board with that, man, because you get all these lingering things, and then they're staying around after their initial purpose is done with, right? Like the income tax, for example, right?
Yeah, income tax, or things that just we may not have it may seem very logical today, but would not be logical tomorrow. So, yeah, that's what I kind of think about it. And Mr. Boulay says he's worked on S9G and A4W reactors. Fucking A. That's pretty baller, honestly.
I'd love to talk hours on nuclear power.
We'll do that one day. We'll have a nuclear powered show. We'll call it what's the what is it when all the superheroes get their powers from nuclear energy? Nuclear
radioactive.
Well, radioactive metamorphosis. There we go. That's good. That's really good. All right. So, all right. Well, Tinky Tack, how's everything been in your world?
It's been pretty good. Just been dealing with a lot of Black Friday related work, so I've been swamped. But everything's in a code freeze, so now I could just chill out for this Thanksgiving.
Cool. How
Nice.
how do you think, how do you perceive what's going on with the green new steel theory that I'm putting forth, that we have been lied to the point of just ridiculousness, and all of this stuff is basically the same thing I asked Joe. What do you think about this?
I think in the beginning there was some promise of some progression. The idea being that green energy wasn't cost effective to be implemented unless they received government subsidies. But as soon as they received government subsidies, it just turned out that the technology was just flawed in general and does not hold up to the promises. And now it's just a scapegoat for politicians to funnel money into other places that aren't even related to green energy. Like Farney just described, how it's like, oh, women's initiatives to reducing CO2 emissions or something. And it's like, what kind of ass backwards policy is that? You know?
The ironic thing, well, not ironic, it's obviously deliberate, is the very initiatives that have nothing to do with the environment are supporting and propagating the ideology of the people that are going to support more bills and this bill staying in power.
Yeah.
So literally, like, they're solidifying this power by using part of the money collected to propagate the nonsense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
At least in the US system, whenever they do budget for these different programs, they turn into government grants, and then businesses will apply for the grants to actually receive the money. Where I think we can break the chain is investigating into these businesses and seeing if they have ties with the politicians, or they've simple things like what is it, the law, like if there's a lobbying force that is related to this business that's getting the grant, and we should be stopping those. So then when we actually do implement practical bills for grant funding towards industries that are like, let's just say, like trade schools for servicemen, in like a welding industry, that would be generally a good cause for the economy of a government. So why not, funnel the money to organizations that are unrelated to the politicians?
I like that. I like that a lot.
I did want to mention, if you're ever interested in old readings, Grid, was you'd probably like Emperor Justinian the First. He did the Justinian Code, which he got a like legal team to look over 900 years of Roman law and culminate them into 5,000 simple laws, because it had just stacked up all these like contradictory laws, and it was just a mess, right? Where people couldn't even understand the law because there was just, I think there was 15 different volumes or something of laws. It was an insane amount of laws. So just thought you might be interested in that.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting.
Darius do something like that as
Darius the First.
The grade, what? So 500, 550
AD or BC? BC.
BC.
I don't know.
Cool. Cool.
I have looked into Darius, so it's shocking that I don't know on that. But yeah, nope.
Anson Knowles, they will always take the money. They're politicians. It's what they do.
Gosh, they all. Pierre also wanted to have a. This is the thing that I don't trust about Pierre is he says way too many good things. It's like, how many are you actually going to do? He also wanted to implement a pay-as-you-go system for politics. So you have to actually properly budget out what you're going to be spending, and you can't spend money that you don't have. And that way we'd be able to finally pay off our deficit and then finally pay off our debt.
I like that. I think that's the way it should be.
Like get rid of our
deficit. You gotta vote like I vote. When Grid said, yeah, Virginia operates on a surplus as well. I think it was a little over 200 million when Glenn Youngkin came in the office. But I stopped reading the bill when it says language in one or two fashions, when it's giving the government a compulsory power or giving the government the power to make citizens do something in a compulsory fashion. I stopped reading and I say, nope, vote no. And if it's asking if we should contract a debt, take out a debt, any type of thing like this, I stop reading the bill and I say, no, we should not. We should have the money for it, or we should make it a priority and get the money for it and pay for it.
Yeah.
We shouldn't run our government on debt.
They expect the citizens to budget and, like eliminate things like cancel Netflix if you need to free up money for things that you're saving up for and all this and that. But they never look at places that they can, cut some of these programs that perhaps aren't doing what they were intended to or are big waste and free up money that way. Yeah, man.
That's true. That's true.
Sorry, take that for
yeah. Well, I would even say that every year, whenever they have to vote for the budget again, or else the government gets shut down, it's I really want to understand more of the details of what departments of the government actually get shut down. And should they be using this as essentially like just to weasel these 900-page like budget documents in? Because let's just say that President Trump was in office and basically said that we need to understand this bill before we pass it.
Oh, we're going to see that in just a few months.
Yeah, and maybe he should just let the government shut down and let the politicians not get paid until they've reduced down the bill into reasonable size and reasonable understanding.
I have to say something on this. I don't know if you guys like watch this. You probably have heard it, but they'll like propose a bill with only 3 days for the politicians to vote yes or no on it, and it'll be on reasonable size, like 15,000 pages. And it's like, what the hell? Like nobody could even understand that in 3 days.
Yeah. You remember the healthcare bill, Obamacare, where they said basically we have to pass it to know what's in it?
Yeah.
You remember that? I mean, come on, guys. This is our government at work. This is why every citizen, regardless of how, because I was just in Glenn's chat earlier, and I was listening to someone talk about why do they even care about the government? Why do they need to know any of it? And I'm like, well, you have to know. You have to know. If you ignore the government in your 20s, you will regret that in your 30s and 40s. 100%. I did. I know that. And when I was 20, I listened to Rush Limbaugh and I voted kind of the way I felt like I should. But I really didn't pay a lot of attention to my local government. I really didn't pay a lot of attention to politics in and of itself beyond just knowing that I was conservative and whatever. And the more and more I get involved at a peripheral level still, the more I read, the more I learn, the more I listen, the more shocked I am every single day. Like, for example, locally here, we had so we had at some point we had a very greedy city council and mayor, and we have a waste dump here, a landfill, and they were contracting with other counties and cities to bring their trash here and dump it in our dump. And it paid a lot. It gave the county a lot of money and all of that kind of thing. And a lot of it, I'm positive, went to those politicians. And at some point, to deal with this trash, there was a resolution that was passed to buy and have constructed a some sort of super incinerator that would incinerate basically all of the trash, and it would basically burn it all to where there's like basically not even smoke, right? Like it's some weird deal, and it was like a $10 million at that time investment, and the money was set aside, but the incinerator never got built to deal with all of this trash. So 20 years or 10 years later, they were still wondering. 15 years later, still wondering. We're coming up on like 18 years that this was supposed to have been constructed, and we've had all of this trash coming here. In the last 3 years, it has been literally on, especially because once the unpleasantness back in 2020 and 21, once that unpleasantness came out and people were staying home and they could smell that the dump in the air during the summer and all of that, all of a sudden it became a big deal, and all of the citizens were like, why, what is going on here? What the hell, man, this sucks. And there were a bunch of us like me who were pointing out, back when I was in college 20 odd years ago, they had a plan. Money was allocated. Money was spent. Nothing got done. And so now the current government has, they're actually building it. They're building the whatever super incinerator, trash monster, whatever thing that they're building, and they're going to start work. And they've stopped most of the trash from coming in other counties. Actually, there was a resolution on our local vote that under no circumstances could trash from other counties be trucked in anymore. And I mean, it's just been a big deal, right? Like, and it doesn't sound like a big deal unless you're in that town. But it really is it really is something that you need to pay attention to. But there were people who had never that were bitching about it that didn't even know that the law had been passed, that there was a resolution on file, that there was $10 million allocated and spent. Like, they just didn't know, and they were like, "Oh, we need to come up with a solution."
I thought of something wild. What if even just on like a local level, we made sure that all the politicians, their wages are based off the median income of their population in their like county or their city. And what that would incentivize is that whatever money that is brought into the government, they would actually want to spend on their citizens and the business within their like local government, local county, in order to increase the wages of the general population, so their median income would then increase.
So I used to believe in what you're pushing forward like really hard. I'm like, yeah, this is amazing. But one of my kind of concerns, if we were to go that way, is that would just increase corruption and lobbying even more, because most of these politicians, they don't make their wealth off of their salary. They make it off of all these special interests, right? So I'm concerned that if you lower that salary, it'd be extra like incentive for them to take dirty money from places.
That makes sense.
I do agree with you in theory, though.
So locally here, you can't. The politicians get paid very little. However, the last few mayors and members of the city council have all been either real estate agents or land developers or contractors. And so they've really done a number locally on some of the zoning, some of the greenway, some of the parks, some of those things, and projects that they had planned that they had reached for the sky for are now on hold. Like, we're supposed to have this massive sports facility come here. That's not happening now. The land's already been bought and allocated. Funds have been spent. I'm not going to get it. But the actual mayor, I don't think he makes anything, right? And so what you end up with is them. And what's happened locally here lately has been that they make it up by basically building, making contracts for themselves, right? So that's actually one of the things that has been an issue is that, at least where I'm at, we're starting to weed the contractors, real estate agents, and land developers out of the local government, so that we have people who are less interested in developing and making a bunch of money for their company, and more interested in actually, making a difference in our local government. Then that's just my local government. I can't speak for everybody's government. I'm sure that there are people who get kickbacks and all of that kind of thing. And while I'm on the subject, Are We Not Men is correct. Please donate to my slush fund. I need more money, and it costs me money to run this account, run this show, and it's every little bit helps. Again,
you
don't
want to
take
see more content from Grid. You got to support them, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're not at the point now yet where my wife is like, hey, you've got to not do this anymore. You got to go do something else. But I don't want it to ever get there. Like right now, my wife doesn't have a problem with this, because it does, for the amount of effort I put into it, it does make it, a little bit, makes some enough to kind of justify it, but it's, but she also treats it like a joke right now. So, so that's just the way it is. So, Tiki Tack, I got to ask you, man.
Sure.
How have you caught? Because we're just gonna shift gears here. We've talked to the green steel. We know about that. We're gonna shift gears a little bit and kind of go back to what we were talking about when we were kind of BSing on the after the intro. Have you caught the absolute shellacking that the Furby has been taking at the hands of Andrew Wilson and even Speakeasy over the last few days?
Yeah, I definitely followed up.
Yeah. Can you give us your comment, your maybe not a blow by blow, especially with the Furby, but kind of give us your semi-professional debater outlook on that.
Well, I think we're dealing with cognitive dissonance that is greater than anything else, because I feel like that the Furby has been so caught up in an ideology and affirming a direction and what they're going in both, like, their transitioning and their political policies, that I don't think they're ever going to recover from it. Because if they were to start admitting to any sort of if they were to give any leeway on anything, they essentially their entire life becomes a lie. They realize they've been going like the wrong direction their entire life. So I don't think you're ever going to get any sort of honesty out of them.
Okay. What did you think of its arguments against Speakeasy? Because I didn't hear all of it, but
I tuned out towards the end.
I kind of did too.
Yeah, it's but I think that Speakeasy was kind of like hitting a little bit more on the same points that Andrew was making. And when the thing is that I don't know about like Speakeasy arguments, but what I thought about is that I think that the Furby is relating too much of their childhood past and trying to associate it with every other child that exists, is having like the similar feelings or acts similar ways, when they need to accept that they're a very unique individual that has grown up in a completely ass backwards childhood, and they probably shouldn't be associating that to the rest of the children out there.
Yeah, but bro, that's not even like a good argument, because of the fact that that's accepting that his way of proceeding in life is true. Like his feelings were true when he was a kid about this. They weren't. And the easiest way to look at this is A, there's zero research proving that, and B, listen to them on how many psychological disorders they have been labeled with.
Yeah.
They have like a laundry list of disorders, including like severe depression, all this and that. So obviously, their path that they're taking based on these assumptions is not panning out to fix anything when it comes to these issues. And one of the biggest ways that you can nail down this kid, and yeah, I call him a kid because he doesn't act like an adult, is by just destroying his stupid brain comments, because that's the only thing that he has that takes it away from the completely subjective realm of just personally deciding that you have an identity, to like the physical realm where he's claiming that the brains are different. So,
Yeah.
you know, bear with me if you guys are interested in this. So there's a
I
thing...
actually have some feedback on all of this.
Oh, fair
This
enough.
is gonna
I
be
don't have
good.
to gish
I
gallop.
like
I
it,
can
yes.
hold my point.
Yeah, make
Yeah.
it. Yeah, go with it.
Yeah, so I completely agree, because well, ultimately, I actually don't think transgenders or the gender dysphoria is a real thing. I think it's generally just a symptom of greater underlying problems, such as, you know, anxiety, OCD, autism, depression. It's I think that's what we really should be treating. We shouldn't be affirming like this whole social construct of gender identity in order to help the person's mental illness. It's like it just doesn't make sense. And the brainwave stuff, it's like ultimately, I actually had a debate with First Amender about this. Because his argument is that, yeah, there's certain brainwaves of transgenders, so you can identify them and things like that. But I said, like, oh, well, can a transgender not have those brainwave patterns, but still identify as a different gender? And he said yes. Then it's like, it just throws the research out of the water. It's like, obviously, it's a social construct.
Yeah, so one of the biggest ones, related on exactly what you just said, one of the biggest ones that he's always mentioning is BNST, which is like the representative immunocytochemical staining of the somatostatin neurons and fibers in the bed nucleus of the stria terminalis central subdivision. By the way, don't
Sounds
I
like
just
a
sound
gish
like
gallop.
Mel right then? But anyway, so I went through all this, right? Just doing like a logical like talk, and I know AI is not the greatest on this, but I've already come to these conclusions. And its conclusion, after I like challenge some of the premises, I'm like, okay, how are you getting this? Because this isn't showing that gender identity is actually grounded in the physical realm. So where are you even getting this? So then the AI said at the end, this staining technique is valuable for studying the neuroanatomy and neurochemistry of the BSTC, which is involved in stress responses, anxiety, and other complex behaviors. However, it's crucial to avoid overinterpreting these findings or making unfounded claims about their relationship to complex human traits or identities. So literally in these studies, I can't. They're full of crap. They're just grasping at straws, trying to prove that there's all this nonsense is nature, not nurture. And there's zero evidence about that. The way I've always looked at a lot of these things like homosexuality, gender identity, all this stuff, while it may be true that one, whether through nature or their environment, may lean towards these things, it doesn't make you these things. These things come from a period of like choices made over your life. And usually what happens is it's not willing to take on proper responsibility. It's basically Peter Pan syndrome for a lot of these people. It's arrested development for both homosexuality as well as for gender identity stuff.
Yeah. And I completely agree. And the thing is that I don't understand why they have to always associate to nature, because it's kind of like, if you want to choose that direction in your life, it's like, just so be it. I don't think anybody really cares that much at the end of the day. It's like, that's your problem. Just don't try to like gaslight us to think that somehow it is nature, you know.
Nobody did care before they started putting this crap into legislation. Nobody gave a rat's behind about it. When I was in the early 2000s, I lived off of Church Street in Toronto, which is like the gayest street in all the world, one of the gayest streets. All right, there's like 0 straight bars or anything on that street. It's filled with transgenders even back then. Okay, transgenders would walk into convenience stores and nobody would bat an eye.
Come on, man. Literally, I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Farney, but
no worries.
Farney, you're right, bro. That you're cooking on this, and dude, literally everybody went to go see that stupid rock opera, and I can't think of it. I was right on the tip of my tongue.
Rocky Horror Picture
Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
Literally everybody went to see that, and it was not a big deal. Like,
nobody cared.
Nobody cared.
Yeah.
Like you would all go, and it was just totally fine.
Yeah.
And now it's like all of a sudden it's a big deal, and like why is this is not a big deal. Sorry, man, I didn't mean that. You were cooking, man. I'm sorry, but
it's all good.
You're 100% right.
Ironically, Florida is also has a really big gay scene in multiple different cities between Orlando, Tampa, and Miami. It's like what was it? It was that one with the Birdcage. Yeah, you know that movie?
Robin Williams.
Yeah. It's like that was filmed all down in Miami. Miami has a really big like gay scene. The town that I grew up in had a huge lesbian scene. You know, it's like literally half the police force were freaking lesbians, you know. Orlando has a huge gay scene near Disney and shit like that. They all seem to work at Disney for some reason. So, and this is a
doesn't that fit into the Arrested Development thing I said, by the way? But go ahead.
Just a bit, yeah. But yeah, and it's a red state. It's and these the LGBTQ community or narrative is that these people are dealing with mental illnesses, depression, unalivings is because of they've been discriminated against. And it's like, no. And even the people you're targeting, saying that the conservatives are targeting them and discriminating them, the red states are not. They're just not. It's because generally they do believe in liberty and freedom, you know. It's like they may not agree with it, but they'll let you do whatever the fuck you want to do.
So that's a great segue. So I'm going to have a debate tonight, guys, with a bunch of liberals on Prime K's, the Reverie. On the Reverie. And I'll be streaming it. You guys will have fun with it. We're going to need a lot of grift to get me through this for me to be around this many liberals at one time. So you guys show up with your wallets. But the subject matter, let me read this. I want to make sure that I go over this. I want to give you the prompt correctly because I don't want it to ever be said that I am not anything except above the board. And the prompt is: Republican U.S. Representative Nancy Mace has proposed a rule in the House that would ban trans women from using congressional female bathrooms. This rule has been approved by the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. This comes after Sarah McBride, the first openly trans person to be elected to that office, has garnered media attention. I didn't know who that was, so obviously their media attention is shit. After all this time, are trans women in female bathrooms really still an issue worth discussing? Have you seen significant evidence that would make you believe that these people are a danger to, they say cis women because it's a leftist that wrote this. Obviously, this is the way the whole thing is phrased. It's from the left. And how would you enforce such a bill?
Yeah, so I've seen this on local Reddits for where I live in Canada, and we're like hyper woke here, right?
Yes,
And
you are.
yeah, yeah. And a girl was complaining, I think it was at York University, right? And no, that's not out of me because there's many different things on there. But anyways, um, they said that they got so scared about a male entering their bathroom that they left immediately, waited outside, and waited till the guy left. And the issue is with these enforcement of transgenders being allowed is, like I just showed, the only thing that labels you as transgender is self-identity, right? So if you're self-identifying as a transgender, you could do it for just 3 minutes. You know, I'm not this sex. I go into the bathroom, gender, sorry. I go into the bathroom, I am that gender. I leave the bathroom, oh, I'm back to my normal gender. You're allowed to do that in their paradigm. It's freaking bonkers. And the other thing is, just like you were saying, like, yeah, farting, man, I don't remember it being that way in the past. Nobody cared in the past about transgenders going into bathrooms. It's when they start to force it that people start to care, right? So if people were like, you know, trying to dress like the opposite gender and they, you know, weren't acting like weirdos or creeps, nobody gave a crap if they went into the other bathroom. It's like, oh, okay, well, that guy's kind of a weirdo, but whatever. Nobody cared. It's this, they want to be the actual fascists. That's why I think it's funny about these people calling themselves Antifa, is they're the actual fascists. They want to go through top-down forcing of everything instead of just like, you know, being grateful for those that do treat them the way that they desire to be treated. And it's like so simple. Like if you're a transgender like woman and you go into a woman's restroom before all this stupid legislation crap, and people say like, "Hey, could you please leave? All right, you're making me uncomfortable." Then be a grown adult, leave, and go to the other bathroom. You're not there to get your jollies off. You're there to take a crap or piss. You know, maybe you have to throw up or something, but that's it. Like, stop acting so damn entitled that the world has to freaking bend over backwards just to make you feel good. It's
Yeah.
so egocentric.
Yeah, and even to extend on that, I think that Congress implementing this rule is setting a precedent across the country to say that yes, we can do this. We can legislate to make sure that the appropriate sexes go into the appropriate bathrooms. And it's not like there's going to be cops that are really going to be enforcing this at every single bathroom, you know. And ultimately, at the end of the day, if you're a passing transgender, you know, you can go into the bathroom that associates with that idea. But I think where the legislation should come in is to implement laws where it is technically illegal if they do that, in case that if there are any problems, like, you know, there's a transgender that's like looking at a kid weird or something like that, that's another law that they could tack on to that person to actually throw them in jail, you know. So but ultimately, you know, the ones that are passing, the ones that are just, you know, doing their business, they're not going to get in trouble. Nobody's going to care.
Those
Even
are
if
all
they're
great
not
points.
passing, most people won't care if they're not acting like a creep, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, give me 1 second here. $9.99 comes in from the Briar Wolf. Let's fucking go. I want a Slurpee with my crayons. Awesome. I don't have any crayons. I'm out, actually. $10 would have triggered the TTS. I'm just saying.
knock that up a penny.
One penny would have triggered the TTS. And I would, anyway, guys, so those are great arguments. I think that what they're going to say, because I actually was going to use those very arguments. So in the UK, I'm just going to give you the converse side of this, right? UK has a law that says if you have for a length of time held yourself out to be if you're a man, it's held yourself out to be a woman, and you have a card issued to you as you're passing or whatever, you know, that you are, as far as the government is concerned, a woman, then you can legally use the female restrooms. Otherwise, you could be arrested, you could be thrown out, you could be asked to leave or whatever. So I may have to change that then, Darko Men 42. I didn't realize. Say, I don't do iOS because I'm not I'm not gay, and I have both of my balls. So I don't do anything with Apple. So the UK has this weird law, right, about that. So, I don't, do we want to go that far with it? No, I don't think we do.
No, I would never want to pay a bureaucrat to handle that.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if you're able to bring this into the discussion later,
Sure.
but I think something that would be powerful to bring in, because most people like they go, whatever. Like back then, even right about men entering women's bathrooms if they were, dressed to undress or what have you. Where they will dig their feet in the sand is bring up, what about women only shelters? Are
Sure.
men in a dress allowed to get into women only shelters now?
Yeah.
I bet you they'll change their tune
and
pretty
the women's
damn
only
quick.
prisons, right? Like they've actually. So the argument against are cis women in gender? Well, yes, they absolutely are, because what we've seen is there are records. I need to look them up. So if anybody has it already pulled up or has it in a folder somewhere, please send it to me. There have been where men have identified as women to be sent to women's prison to do bad things to women.
Yeah.
This has happened. And so if all we're talking about is the fact that you don't need anything but to call yourself a female and you can walk into a ladies' restroom, why would a woman not feel concerned about it? I'm not saying fearful, because some women are braver than others, but women get nervous when men look at them the wrong way in the gym.
Cross the street as well.
Or they'll cross the street because a guy's walking aggressively down the other side of it. How can you not reasonably expect them to be in the most sanctified of places? How could they not be afraid?
And that's why I
That they're most vulnerable. Sorry.
That's why. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
All right.
That's why I recommend bringing up the shelter thing instead of prison, because the bathroom and the shelter, these are times when women are at their most vulnerable. Prison, you broke the law. You are a criminal. You're there because you're the one that did the perpetration.
Sure.
In shelters, you're the one that was the result of somebody else breaking the law, usually, right? So those people are, completely innocent in shelters, right? Or at least they're perceived to be. And so if they just got out of a legit, incredibly abusive situation with a man, the last thing that they want is to be around another man, regardless if he's wearing a tutu or not.
Here's a thought that I want to bring up.
Well, give me one second. Let me acknowledge the Thorpe raid. Welcome, Thorpers. Welcome to the show. Today, currently, the conversation is I'm going to be doing a debate panel tonight. The subject matter is the new Senate rule that trans women cannot use the female restroom in the Senate. It's been approved by the House Speaker. And so since I have to debate this, I want to hear a bunch of different angles. I kind of have an opinion on that myself, and I'm just gathering information. And you're welcome to Thorpe TV, Grace. I'm assuming that's Grace, since it could be Ben, but you can come up as long as you behave yourself. Somebody get them the link, and we'll do that. We'll have Thorpe up too. Just have to kind of behave yourself.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I forget who I interrupted, but I interrupted somebody.
Yeah. So real quick, this is not an argument you should bring up during a debate, but it's just something that I think is interesting to think about.
Yeah.
So ultimately, the duties of men are to protect women and children.
Absolutely.
Should trans women hold those same duties?
Ooh. Oh man, that is brutal.
I think that fall to my earlier point that that whole mindset is a rejection of anything to do with duties, right?
That's
Yeah. I'm just thinking, like, because if it's a yes, they should hold up to those duties, then they should respect women in their bathrooms. If
right.
But if it's a no, I don't know the direction that would take if they said no.
Well, then they're dishonorable men, and they shouldn't do it. Oh, I'm just kidding.
What's your thoughts on perhaps bringing up, like, well, you know, if we're looking for middle ground as far as policies go, what about having genderless bathrooms?
See, that's the alternative, right? Is his, hers, confused. Right. I mean, that is the middle ground. Yeah. That's the only middle ground that I can come to. Because to be honest with you, and I have seen, tell me if you guys have seen this before. A guy is out with his young daughter. She's really got to go. He is torn between taking her into the men's bathroom versus the girls' bathroom. And he takes her into the girls' bathroom after making sure there are no women in there. Now, I have witnessed myself where a woman has walked in, seen the guy in there, and not freaked out about it. You know, the guy's, hey, my daughter's in here. You know, I'm just, you know, I'm just don't mind, you know, just give me 2 minutes, you know, it should be done or whatever. And everything's fine, right? Women can be understanding creatures. However, I think it would be completely different if a masculine looking person in a dress, you know, with you know, a mustache that rivals Mr. Lestrange, walks in. I think a woman would have a different conversation.
I'd have to fight them. I'd have to fight them.
There can only be one mustache.
I don't make the rules, Fred. I don't make the rules.
You're bringing up another good point. Like, so I may be hated for this, but I don't even remember what bathroom I went in with my niece. I think I went into the females one. Nobody gave a crap. I'm not going to leave my niece when she's a little kid, like in the bathroom alone. I don't give a crap if it's an adult woman or an adult man. I'm not doing it. And if people are going to hate me for that, it'd be like, screw you. I'm taking my niece to go to the bathroom. You have an issue? Go somewhere else. Like that'd be my attitude. So
yeah,
that's pretty much the only.
By the way, that's very un-Canadian of you.
I know. I get in trouble with my fellow Canadians all the time. If you couldn't tell, all the time. My American friend, he made a comment, and I'm like, dude, you can't say that to Canadians. He's like, what?
You're invoking the Canadians that you know, it created the war crime franchise.
But that is pretty much the only time there would be a distinction is if it's a man going in with a small girl. You know, it immediately registers as the dad or uncle or somebody.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody cares.
There's a legitimate reason for being there, right? Yeah. Let me read you the prompt, Lestrange. You weren't here earlier. Let me read you the prompt, and that way you'll have better context as to what the debate is tonight. So the prompt, again, I'm going to read. I know that you guys have heard this already, so just bear with me, chat. Republican U.S. Representative Nancy Mace has proposed a rule in the House that would ban trans women from using congressional female bathrooms. This rule has been approved by Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. This comes after Sarah McBride, the first openly trans person who I had no idea existed until this happened. I need to look and see how passing she is. He is, whatever. To be elected to that office has garnered media attention. Obviously not. I've never heard of this person. After all this time, are trans women in female bathrooms really an issue still worth discussing? I think it is. Have you seen significant evidence that would make you believe that these people are a danger to cis women? I do believe in many cases they are. And how would you enforce such a bill? Personally, it would be, to me, it'd be self-policing. If a woman comes out of a bathroom shrieking that there's a man in the bathroom and somebody comes out in a dress, you know, maybe there's something to what the woman's saying. Maybe there's something to it. I don't know. You guys help me out here. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's the counter argument that I've heard from the libs is, you know, the whole we're gonna pull everybody's pants down to check their genitals, which is it's silly. It's you can work on a premise of basic threat detection.
Sure.
If you're passing as a female, nobody's gonna ask you to pull down your pants. If you look like me and you walk in there, you might get your ass beat. It's not that difficult.
Right.
It's really not that complicated,
Well,
and it boils down to something very similar, like in a club. Let's just use that setting. Can you
yeah.
just walk into VIP because you want to be in VIP? No, you go use the regular bathroom because you're not allowed in VIP. It's easy
Okay.
as that. It doesn't
You
have to
either
be
belong or you don't
overcomplicated.
belong. You either belong or you don't belong. That's a great
Yeah.
argument. I actually like that.
All right,
I like
I
Yeah.
gotta go, guys.
You
I
have
got
to
work
drop.
to do.
All right. See you, Ticky Tack. Enjoy your work
Yeah,
day.
be well.
Yep.
Tack, man.
See you guys
It's
later.
always awesome to have you on, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yeah, I wanted to mention this, and this I think is actually a very powerful argument. Is look, many of the people that are in support of these agendas, right? They often believe that we have an essay culture and essays rampant, and like 80% of men would essay, yeah, and I'd rather be alone in the woods with a bear
True.
over a man. And yet, here they are defending a man getting to be alone with a woman where cameras are not allowed in society. So even if something does
Oh.
happen in there, how can you prove it? It's not even on camera.
He
Like-
said, or yeah, whatever. You get what I mean.
Yeah.
You get what I mean. Oh, that's great. That's really great. We are a surveillance society, whether we want to admit it or not. We are also highly, highly invested in the idea that men are very much a danger to women, to the point that that a DV call in almost every state in the union results in one of the two going to jail, and usually the male. So that's really good. That's really, really good. That's
Yeah.
that's pretty solid. So yeah, that's really solid. Do we have any? What do we have for
Write it
stat
down
on it?
before you forget it, man. No, I'm just teasing.
Yeah, no, I could. Well, you know, the thing is that this is a debate. I'm probably gonna have to sit down with somebody a little early, a little later. This is a debate where I'm going to be debating like Ghosty. She's ineffective. I mean, come on. I'm shocked she shows up. Mainly because it takes talent to use a keyboard, and I'm not really sure that she knows letters, numbers, things. And so Ghosty, I don't know who the other liberals are going to be, but Scott from Fabian Liberty, who was on my show a couple of weeks ago, he's going to be there. He is awesome, and he's a anarcho-capitalist. So he's very, he gets to the root of this stuff really, really well. I think that he will probably err on my side just because I think he has a daughter, and that's where it boils down to. So let's just say that you have a daughter that's 14, that's old enough, obviously, to go to the bathroom by herself. Do you want her in the same restroom as a fully grown man, whether the man's wearing a dress or not?
I wouldn't want to take the risk. And another good argument to bring up as well is that show me one transgender that doesn't have a laundry list of mental disorders. So add that into the equation where they have a laundry list of mental disorders on top of it.
Let's go down this path for a minute. Why is it that we admit, we freely admit that while they may no longer consider being trans a mental disease in and of itself, there are no trans people without a mental disease?
Well, yeah, because just trans, like gender dysphoria is a mental illness. Now,
Well,
they did
even if
remove
they
it from the
don't have that, they will all
DSM-5, but
have- Yeah, but even if they don't have, even if because they're saying gender dysphoria doesn't really exist, and that was a mistake, right? So somebody go get Nev. Is Nev on? Somebody go get Nev. I want Nev in on this.
I do agree that Nev is a far better, representation of the community than
yeah. Somebody go get Nev. It'll be like the first time I've ever had Nev on my channel, but somebody somebody knows Nev. Somebody go find Nev. I bet she's on. Whatever. But here's the thing: why is it that if it's not gender dysphoria, which they deny is a disease now, right? They've declassified it as no longer a mental condition. But they'll all have depression, anxiety, confusion, S behavior, S idle behavior. They'll all have these things. How is it then that if you have a mental condition, why would I want you alone in a place without
most vulnerable people in society?
With what are arguably vulnerable people in society.
Yeah.
I mean, most men get on. I mean, if you're in a place full of men and there's a dude that's just angry and acting up, most men don't even want to be around that person.
Sure.
He could be fine. He could just be having a shit day. I don't understand the argument for how that should be allowed.
So I'm willing to concede that there are men who've taken so much estrogen and so many other puberty blockers and everything else that they no longer have testosterone. They no longer have functional genitalia, that sort of thing. I'll concede all of that. But
no, I wouldn't even concede that, Grid. Why? Because
mentally, still a dude.
Yeah,
why
and
would
also
you
they still have way more
women...
testosterone than a woman, even if they have all this stuff done.
Guys, you're missing the whole thing. That doesn't even matter. If women can also be violent, that I don't even understand that metric. It doesn't even matter.
Right. I'm willing, because that's one of the things they're going to say. They're going to say that, well,
testosterone is not a prerequisite for violence.
Correct. Yes. And it's also not a prerequisite for wanting to SA someone. Matter of fact, most of the time, people who commit SA are very low testosterone.
Yeah.
So, but I had
the statistics with domestic abuse. That it's got a higher tendency in lesbian couples.
Sure.
Well, lowest testosterone you can find in a coupling. So
let's so look, I'm trying to preempt the arguments that they're going to use. They're going to first argument they're going to say is, well, if they present as a woman, then they will more than likely they'll have all of the estrogen, all of the androgen blockers, all of these drugs. First of all, why do you want to be alone with somebody who takes a chemical cocktail to feed their delusion? Okay, why would you? I mean, I don't like to be alone with people on medication, period, because that's how every movie I've ever watched, that's what that's how people do. That's when people get stabbed. And so why would I want to do that, right? Like every horror movie always begins the same way, right? And why do you want to do that?
I know this is a touchy thing, and I'll try to use appropriate language, but all the school pewers, they always have a laundry list. Like,
correct.
Yes. And if you think about it, right, that's why I said I wouldn't even grant them testosterone. None of this. Don't give them an inch. Fuck that.
I need to make it a non-issue.
You'd say the biggest tendency. Yeah, but the thing is, the biggest tendency towards somebody being violent, right? That's why it doesn't matter about hormones, is mental instability and a lack of self-control. So any person you find that has a lack of self-control will have a tendency to get violent because they can't control their emotions.
See, that's true. And we can see that with even the Furby who comes up and you start challenging it and pressuring it. it immediately goes to like this. The tone of the voice changes, the pitch changes. You can't see the rage beast because it uses an avatar, but
Yes.
you would probably that would be.
Oh, I'd like to see Mel on camera when they do this stupid thing where they go right up to the. I don't know if you've ever witnessed Mel do that, but when Mel gets really pissy and self-entitled, they'll go right up to their mic and start yelling in it.
Yeah,
it hurts your ears. It's freaking so childish, and you just want to smack them. Like they didn't get enough beatings growing up. I almost guarantee it. Nowhere near beatings.
And dude, I can say right now, that's why I brought it up, Grid, is the thing with emotional control and a tendency towards violence. That's why I think it's more prevalent in girls thinking it's okay to hit somebody. Is they don't live the same shared life of men that understand the threat of violence. If you don't understand the threat of violence, you don't have the necessary capacity or care to control violence. So it comes down to the self-control of being able to distinguish when to be violent, when not to be violent. And if you're never presented with that challenge, you don't have the capacity for it. And that would be the issue with people that are mentally unstable, is it wouldn't matter what female, male. I mean, look at kids. Kids hit people all the time because they don't understand violence.
Well, and a lot of women don't realize that men growing up, they're told you never hit a girl, you never hit a girl. Women are not raised, you never hit a man. Like, not that I've witnessed. Like, it's super rare if they have had that happen. But usually it's a generic one where you don't hit anyone. It's like, we're told specifically one gender, we don't hit them.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true. So, yeah,
I got kicked in the balls so many times by girls growing up. But anyways.
It's a Canadian.
Oh, man. Took everything in my power not to hit them.
So I'm just trying to defeat the arguments that they're going to give before they give them to me, right? Like we can just, I just know that they're going to go to certain places, right? Like it's just the way it is. They're going to, or at least I believe, right? Like, well, that presents as a woman. So why would you fear something that looks like a woman? Well, I fear things all the time that look perfectly harmless, but actually are not harmless. And I can't make that determination based on your clothing.
Great. That's why I also mentioned to you that they're going to use the argument of pecking genitalia. And a better one than the whole club situation is to ask them, how does a police officer delineate whether a suspect is violent or not, right? He might not see a weapon, any of this. How does he know before he searches them? You can do threat detection, right? You can use your eyes and basic.
So I think my position, so I'll give you my position on it, right? So my position is that honestly, if you present as a female well enough to fool most people, and you want then just use the female's restroom, right? And act like a female. If you do not present like a female, or you insist upon telling everyone that you are trans, that you are a male masquerading as a female, this is where I start having a problem. Because at that point, now a woman realistically, now she knows you're a dude. Or has suspicion that you're a dude. So if you can't pass, or the first thing you tell anybody is, well, I'm a man, but I dress as a woman. If those two things dominate your life, then no, you should not be able to use a female restroom. And I think the best option is a universal restroom, a non-gendered restroom. What I forget what they call them, but and so where it doesn't matter, right? Like,
great. I actually have a nice thing to bring up to them.
Okay.
If there's ever a queue to the ladies' room, or you should actually ask this if there's a female on the panel. If there's a queue to the ladies' room and the queue to the men's restroom is open, would you go into the men's restroom? And equate that to
one, man.
Why would that person feel unsafe in the men's restroom, but in the opposite way, it can actually be a security risk. Why
So I
would
did
a man ever feel a threat in the men's bathroom?
I did a psychological experiment when I was in college. I love psychological experimentation. I absolutely love them. It was my favorite college course probably of all. We did one where we put an out of order sign on the female restroom door. Women would go to the door and they would leave. It was like 1 out of 5, 1 out of 6 would actually go knock on the men's restroom, peek inside, yell, would go in.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that they somehow blocked the door so nobody could come in, and then they would use the men's restroom. But it was like 1 out of 5. We did the same thing with the men's restroom. And men would go over, open the door, yell, "Hey, is anyone in there?" Walk inside, do their business, come out 2 minutes later. It was like a non-issue for men. Once they knew there wasn't a woman in there, they just went in. Right? They just didn't care.
Yeah.
But for women, it was literally like it was a huge thing for them just to think about going into the men's restroom. That's
I don't know.
interesting.
See, I think it's but I think it's different here in South Africa. We do have some spots that have like unisex bathrooms, but it's stalls inside of something. But I don't know. I've just seen the tendency. I usually notice things that people do.
I agree with the unisex bathroom because it then it doesn't matter, right? But I believe that there should be men's, women's, undecided. Okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like I don't understand why this whole debate has to. Do you know what? Also, the best one is we have a special bathroom for disabled people. Why don't they just use that bathroom then? If it's such a big issue, you can just have a third bathroom that's for other.
That, and I don't know that there is in the Senate, but that's interesting.
I also got a good
but
point on
that would resolve all of the problems.
Yeah,
that would literally resolve all the problems. No more safety risks. Nobody's got to feel bad because now they got to go in a bathroom that they don't care about. But just let them use the disabled stall. I mean, just count mental.
I agree with what Damien says here. The passing argument is stupid. Stage makeup can make you pass for literally anything. Does that mean you are? See, I agree with this. The rest of the world currently does not. Currently, the rest of the world feels like that if you're a passing as a woman, the world should view you as a woman until you do something to identify yourself as a man, right? And even then, they're kind of washy about it.
Be careful because when you're talking about passing, that's not usually a great argument with them because of the fact that gender identity is in the brain, while gender expression is the passing or not passing. So they're two separate things.
But
so
I'm
you might fall into a trap if you try to go
instance,
down that.
In this specific instance where you have to consider the feelings of real women.
Yeah, I hear you.
If a dude walks in and they have a beard that dwarfs Chris Lestrange's beard, and they walk into and they're in a dress, they have a little cute girly hat on, they're they got a pinafore or whatever. I don't know dresses, man. I'm sorry, I'm just going off of shit, but making shit up. Huh?
Sundress, Greg.
Sundress. Yeah, they're wearing a sundress. They're in business casual, and they walk into a ladies' restroom, and they have the great beard. They got huge muscles. They're wearing a men's wristwatch. They have hair all up and down their arms. And basically, it looks like a dude in a dress with a wig on. I think that would freak most women out.
Yeah.
I think that that's poor decision making on your part.
That would freak men out if you're in the bathroom and you see that person next to you. You'd be like, "What the fuck, dude?"
Yeah. So Ming, I get this. I think this is actually my real position is I cannot understand. Nobody wants you there. Why do you want to go there?
But bro, this is the whole leftist thing is they force themselves into places that people don't want them. Whether it be workplaces where you have to hire them
wait.
regardless.
Adam Ant coming in with the kill shot. The whole issue is a non-issue anyway. They have private bathrooms in their offices.
Yeah.
What the?
Yeah.
Oh, that's my
That's
kill
why I
shot.
said, remember, there'll be communal bathrooms and then there'll be private bathrooms
I'm going to
usually
let
in
them
these kind of
argue and
situations.
present all this evidence, and I'm going to let them argue for like an hour, and then I'm going to be like, well, you know.
Here's
bathroom, so what's the problem?
Like if they're like going to the like public ones, right? Then here's another good point, right? What's the worst that's going to happen to a man that goes into a woman's bathroom? They have a rare pardon?
He's going to be arrested.
They have a rare chance of being accused by some of something, right?
Oh no, it's not rare.
Now what's well, I'm just saying that like that's the only reason you'd be arrested anyways is if you did something.
Yeah, but somebody would immediately ascribe a bad intent to a man in a woman's restroom. It would be immediate.
Perhaps. I'm just saying, like, okay, take away the rare, fine.
Okay.
That's the bad thing that's going to happen to a man X amount of time. Now, the other side is for the women with a man walking in, doesn't matter how rare it is, it's the times that bad thing they will do. And that's what people are worried about. It's not about the 99 that aren't going to do something bad coming in. It's about that one creepo that just wants to get in there to have a woman at her most vulnerable with no cameras around where he can do whatever he desires with her.
I agree with Anson Knowles 100%. Abnormality should not be normalized. Y'all, can I say that in an Alabama accent? Y'all are treating the Furby like a person worthy of debating as an equal gives him more credit than he deserves. I'm not debating the Furby. As far as I know, there's 6 people on the panel, and the Furby's not one of them. I don't know who all 6 are yet. Let me see if I can suss that out.
Yeah, no good argument can be made for prescriptions regarding a minority. There's a reason we use the general population to dictate how we run the world.
Well,
if we break down into the unique subsets, this world wouldn't function. You need to work in generalities, otherwise it doesn't even make fucking sense.
So but sorry.
Go ahead.
The issue is, and Mel's brought this up, and it's a decent argument because a lot of people, they like to act like we aren't supposed to bend around the minorities. So are you against having like disability access to places? Like where they have to put ramps in, they have to put elevators in?
You know what the argument against that is, Farney? Do they have a choice or not? If you don't have the ramp, they can't get in the building.
They don't have a choice, bro.
So here's the people.
To go in a bathroom, that doesn't logically track, because you can piss in any bathroom. You can't physically not get in the door to the male bathroom. That's stupid.
I hear you on that, but I thought you meant about being disabled. They didn't have a choice.
No. A disabled person can physically, without that ramp, not get in the building. There's no like passcode on the male bathroom that you can't fucking get in there. We don't need to build you a ladder to get in there. It's not the situation. It's not a good comparison.
We make rules
and
like adjustments to accommodate minorities in society.
Yes, but we make prescriptions for things that a person would not have a choice over. So a physical impairment that does not give them a workaround. Then we bend and we say, okay, we need to adjust for this clause.
All right, so here's who I'm going to be debating, guys. I'm going to be debating Ghosty. These are the people involved in the debate. I don't know who I'm going to be. I mean, it's a 6-person or 7-person panel debate. So these are the people who are going to be there. Ghosty, Corey Campbell. I don't know who that is. Fabian Liberty Scott. I know who he is. He'll probably be on my side. Katyusha, Katyusha. I'm not sure who she or he is. Lactoid and Sociologic.
Yeah, I don't know most of those.
So those are the people that I will be involved with in this panel debate tonight.
What time is
I
that
bet
at?
you that social logic guy is going to be
It's at
probably a very clever and well logical person, well
it's
thought
7
out.
o'clock my time, 8 o'clock Eastern time.
Okay.
Sorry, I interrupted there, Chris. I'm sorry.
Where's the debate happening, Grid?
On Prime Case, I'm going to be streaming it on my channel.
Okay.
He does. I
Okay,
think
cool.
he does the most on Twitch. So, yeah.
So the thing is we do all right. So here's another one, right? Like,
Yeah.
so
Everybody watch it here on Grid's channel.
yeah, I agree. So there we do it, for example, with forcing places to not discriminate against say blacks in America, where
we force that all the time. I can't whip it out and piss on the sidewalk. So
no, but so you have to let blacks into a certain area, right? Like a private business, and you have to serve them, right? So that could be the argument that they could use for minorities, as in like a small sect of society being transgenders should be not restricted from entering the area that they desire when it comes
That's
to
not a small minority. That's not a small minority.
blacks aren't a small minority in America.
Yeah.
They're like less than
are you taking just
15%,
America?
I was saying just in America.
Yeah, but
dude, these are Americans debating. They don't care about any other country.
yeah, no, I hear you, but still, like
I think
15%
Canada
is
has
not a
less
small
blacks in
minority.
America, and we accommodate them in a similar manner as well.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be the case because it's not a disability or impairment to be of a different race. So I don't see that equation happening. That doesn't make sense because everybody's granted equal rights. That is a privilege granted to every single person. There's not a distinction made because of a what do they call it? The characteristic of being a certain
Immutable?
race.
Immutable.
Yeah,
So
it's
the
not.
issue
It's just
is that
something
a
that
lot of these people
it's
believe
granted.
transgenderism is immutable. Like they believe they're born
Nah,
with it
that's
kind of thing.
bullshit. If it's
I
an
know,
immutable
and I
characteristic,
said earlier in the stream why
yeah,
it's
there's
BS, but they argue and
Yeah.
believe that it is so.
immutable means it's outwardly you're able to observe it outwardly, right? How can an internal state be a mutable characteristic? How
Well,
would you
and that's why
how would you prove that?
that's why I debunked it with the whole grounding it in the physical realm being the stains, the brain stains I was talking about earlier. So if you eliminate that argument, then yes, you make it into a purely social concept. And then you can eliminate that whole immutable characteristic. That's why I think that one, and I do have that chat saved with the AI. I think that one is one of the most important to bring up with a lot of these people, because they always say, I don't have a choice about this stuff. It's like, no, none of the studies back that up.
Yeah, and even if they try and grant like mental disability one, because now I can steal man even my own arguments, and I could say, okay, well, what about mental disability? Is that a mutable characteristic? Does it outwardly show that somebody's mentally disabled? Yeah, you kind of fucking can tell if somebody's mentally disabled. It's not something, an internal state that doesn't show outwardly. The only way it shows outwardly is with surgeries and weird shit, and presenting your internal state. A disabled person does not choose to present that way. It's not a choice. So therefore, choices cannot be immutable characteristics. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the sense of I'm discriminated for how I am. Well, you can't put on makeup and say that's what you are, because that's not what you are. It's that same argument for we were born like this. Well, no, you need to go through surgery to be the way that you think you are. So you weren't born that way. You were born the way you were born, and then you changed yourself.
The reason that's not a good argument, and I brought this up earlier with Grid, is that you're kind of conflating two ideas, gender identity and gender expression. You do not need to have the gender expression of your gender identity to be of that gender.
I don't care about none of that. I don't care about none of that. I don't even want to go into the weeds.
If you're going to debate these people, you need to understand their lingo and the way they understand these concepts.
I would just make logical. No, I don't want to get into any of that because then it becomes my study, this guy. No. One body.
That has nothing to do with study. It's using their terminology.
No, you guys get dragged into the weeds with their bullshit, and you don't stick on logical. I don't grant them any of that shit.
Yeah, give me one second here. So, what arguments do you think the other side will use to say that the idea that having a ban on trans women using female restrooms is wrong? What do you think they're going to say that? What was the second point? Hang on, I want to make sure I get this right.
Harm principle, discrimination.
The second
alienation.
Point, yeah,
and then
hold on. The second point. So is the first of all, what do you think they're going to say about is this an issue still worth discussing? Is there significant evidence that would make you believe these people are a danger to cis women? That's a very specific thing, and what I'm gonna have to do is I'm going to have to limit them from running away and saying, well, people should just be able to use whatever bathroom they want. And I would say, no, that's not what we're talking about. We're saying, do these women using the restroom feel endangered by the presence of trans women? If you were the leftist, if you were taking their side, what would you argue for those 2 points? And the last point is, how would you enforce such a bill? So what would your answer, if you were a leftist, what would...
Okay, so I got a steel man. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I hate this part. I always feel dirty when I have to do this.
I know.
I've got to put my mind in. Now you got to make me put my mind in that space grid.
I know. Well, you got to be able to argue both sides.
I know. That's how it works. I would say yes. You do not actually have on the sense of a danger.
Say it in person. You're saying some good stuff. Come on up and say it in person.
Yeah, I would say on the danger thing, yes. It would be very hard to prove it. Yeah, I don't want to do this side, but yeah, on the danger side, it would be very hard to prove it because they could pull on stats that we also use in the bear versus man debate, where most of the male population is not dangerous. They're not trying to do any of that nonsense. Most of them aren't going to grape, cause harm, any of this. They're just like living out who they are on the inside. So there shouldn't be a reason discriminating against it because we all get along in civil society fine. Otherwise, this whole world would have been chaos if everybody had this propensity towards violence or degeneracy, right? So they could use the argument of using statistics that most people don't suck, which we all know. And yeah, and then they would also obviously say that these people internally do present as women, so they wouldn't be to say they would be a threat to women would be disparaging them as being a trans woman, right? So that's what I meant with the discrimination. And obviously they would also go with it. That's why I also mentioned the discrimination and the alienation of further alienating people that are already a minority. They already struggle with generally fitting into society, and now adding more barriers to them assimilating properly into society. It would probably be something along these lines.
Okay. What do you think, Farney? So let's just take the first one. I was trying to look up something. I got in the weeds. So the first one is: are trans women in female bathrooms really an issue still worth discussing?
Yeah. So I think that what they're going to be saying is yes, because they view the idea of them creating more acts of self-deletion as being a direct result of not being accepted by society. And so this is one step closer to acceptance.
Okay. And I would counter that by saying, can you show me where that's ever proven been to be true?
They would
won't be
say
able
that self-reported, right? They would
Yeah,
say
well,
that
they wouldn't be able to back up that claim. So that's an easy one. All right. But the first part of it, what was the first part of what you said?
That they're committing acts of self-deletion at
Oh, yeah,
higher
yeah,
rates
yeah,
due
yeah.
to this. And the reason I'm saying that what they will use to back it up is
Oh, they always
because
do that. That's the first thing. That's the first
it's the
stop.
self-reported stuff, right? Like, because the people are claiming this.
Well, 40% of trans men that present as women have reported seriously considering self-deletion. We have no idea if that has anything to do with where they get to use the bathroom or not. They didn't report on that. So I don't believe that we could use that stat. So, and second, we're dealing with, a mental, with a lot of times with mental illness to begin with. So I'm not really sure how much weight I could add to that. And I don't buy that claim as a reason to that this is an issue still to be discussed.
However, if that claim is true, right, that it's due to lack of acceptance, they would have a decent argument there for why this would be one step closer to being accepted.
Yeah. And also, again, Grid, remember that the problem with original men is, we are the more violent subsect. So I've heard this argument be brought up in the sense of men are the most violent. So if
that's the next question.
Yeah.
Have you seen significant evidence that would make you believe that these people, I'm assuming trans, are a danger to cis women?
See, that's then if I was now on the bad team, I would say, well, original OG flavor men do the most crime. They fill up the jails. They're the ones that do SA the most. This person is less of a man. They're trans women. They identify more with a feminine nature. So, i.e., they would be less harmful than normal men. So that's maybe something they can look at, because unfortunately the stats is against men on that.
Stats that Arthur Daya posted earlier is that trans men identifying as women have a higher rate of aggression and violence versus other similar groups. So
I've been trying to find.
Sorry.
Yeah, but see now, if I was a Destiny, I'd spurg out and eat some Adderall and be like, that's because you all are mean to them and you treat them like crap. So I would also be mad and rage out.
So we don't have to talk about him licking cum out of dudes' asses.
Oh, crap,
dude. So I would just say, no, it's because you guys marginalize them and treat them like crap. That's why you should treat them better. That's why they're always angry, Grid. It's because you're misogynist.
There are a lot of marginalized groups in society. So white men, for example, are highly marginalized, and we don't seem to have that high of suicide rate.
Well, the highest suicide rate is men, Grid.
It is a lot more.
Go ahead, Farney. I'm sorry.
All I was saying is I'd be careful with that one. And that's what I was looking up earlier. Because Lindsay brought it up that they're more likely to commit violent acts. I am not able to find data that backs that up. The issue is that they would probably not even record the fact that it was a transgender person that did the act.
The problem is it's such a small subsect. If you look on pure statistics, right, and numbers, it would never be able to even come close to their argument.
I'm going to reject the argument no matter what, because we don't have enough data to prove out your point. And so the only thing I have to go by is that women have largely said they don't feel comfortable with trans women that they know are men in the same restroom with them. Now, obviously, if you can't tell, that's one thing, right? Like if you go in and you don't proclaim that you're a woman and nobody can tell, and you go in and you don't hurt that woman, then obviously she has no issue. However,
But Grid, it's worse. The women can feel uncomfortable because they feel uncomfortable in their own bodies, Grid.
They self-identify as uncomfortable.
I can't do I can't do anything about what you feel in your body. I can only talk about, and what we're talking about is, have we seen significant evidence that will make you believe that these people are a danger to cis women? I don't have to believe it. I only have to know that the cis women believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
but see, the
perhaps-
problem with the fuck your feelings is if you go, I don't care about you being transgender, I don't care about your feelings, then I can say I don't care about the other people in the bathroom's feelings. So it just becomes a, I don't care about the other one's feelings debate. So that's not a good.
Okay, go ahead, Farney. I'm sorry.
Yeah, perhaps a decent argument would be, and it's not necessarily fully an argument, but to like paint a picture, like just for people to think about it, is, you know, the man versus bear, which would you rather be with in the woods? Which would you rather be alone with in the woods? A transgender woman or a cis woman?
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. So I
It's
don't know
getting at the heart of like this, like I said, like you said, rather, where there's like this innate fear where they fear men more than they fear women, right?
I think the way the question is worded, making me believe that. I do believe that. I do believe that men, regardless of how they dress, going into a fully equipped male, let's just say it that way, right? A fully equipped male going into the restroom with a woman, especially dressed as a woman in camouflage, I have to naturally assume that that person's up to no good. If you're asking me if I believe that these women are in danger, then yes, I 100% believe they're in danger. I have
You should ask them, if you see a dude outside in a ghillie suit, do you think he's just going to the post office?
Yeah, woman.
I know it's complete.
Stillskin has coined a new catchphrase, womanflage. So if you're dressed in womanflage, I'm going to use that tonight, by the way.
Yeah.
If you're dressed in womanflage and you go into a woman area, I have to assume that you're up to no good, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like Antifa wearing masks, right?
Yeah. When else do you use camo unless you got a intent to be hidden to do something, right?
When you're a predator, right? You're looking for predators.
Camouflage. So that's a great. I like
that's
that.
actually a huge one, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a solid one, Greg.
Woman,
I know this is
predator. Yeah, I like that.
I know this is incredibly anecdotal, but I've been friends with loads of transgenders way back in like 2007-ish, roughly, when I was in college. And
why isn't Lindsay Smith coming up here and saying this in person? We'd have a much better conversation than I catch every third thing you say.
And every single one of them were emotionally unstable. And they would lash out in violent ways, kind of like you see with like Mel, right? Out of nowhere, like everybody's having to show conversation. Rah, rah, rah. It's like, do you really want to be alone with somebody that has that kind of like issue with
yeah, but the thing is, Barney, it's similar to like birth control, and you know, you can equate it to women when they're on their periods, right?
Dude, I trust women off birth control more than I trust women on birth control.
Yeah, but whenever even just a normal female, which is now the less violent, has hormone fluctuations, even during pregnancy, they become more violent and their tendency to snap is more. It's just, it's hormone fluctuation. So now when you're dealing with a person who's constantly
so that's a good
with their hormone.
That's a good point too. All of the science suggests that tampering
like perpetual puberty
with hormones leads to instability.
We don't know what we're going to get, right? This is we could get the most benign person, or we could get a homicidal maniac.
Yeah, it's kind of like a teenager. You guys trust a teenager going through puberty for being able to control their emotions and lashing out more than you would control somebody that's done with puberty. I got a 14-year-old going through it
right now. I have personal experience.
Right? Dude, when I went through puberty, I was nasty, man. Like super aggressive.
I hope they took video. So all right, so I like that one. I like where we got there. What about how would you we'll start with Chris. How would you enforce such a bill, such a law that, or a rule that only normal women or only real women can use women's restrooms. Trans women cannot.
Okay. So from your position, right, Grit? Yeah, because it's for the law, right? So so I'll give you my shitty one first. We have 2 footprints on the floor, and there's a little swinging arm that hits you right in the groin. If you can pass that without flinching, you're good to go into the bathroom. But no. I would say the best method is that if you would, yeah, it is a difficult one. It is a difficult. Fonny, do you have something? Then I'll think about it for a second. I haven't really thought about this. I can
got
just,
nothing for you, man.
yeah. The thing is, I can think of logical ways, but if you're saying to propose legislation, I have to think about that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing is, you can't do tests. None of that is going to apply with legislation.
Mm-hmm.
You need to work with something grounded in either looking or, yeah, you're not going to be able to use any sorts of tests on that situation. Can't use the one where because they always say, pull the pants down, look at the genitals, and they love that talking point.
There is the idea. What was it? Was it Tiki Talk that brought it up earlier? Where if you've lived identifying as a gender for X amount of time, you can get a card.
Well, that was the UK. The UK standard is.
Yeah, that would be the only way that you could even remotely like have it where it's allowed.
So I mean, that would be like a disability tag to park in a disability zone, which is actually quite clever.
They should have to wear, if this is going to be allowed, they should have to wear a lanyard showing that they have an invisible
or just like a license,
right?
Like you would have a driver's license that you just keep on you.
No, it has to be visible, bro. It has to be visible. You can't have people be.
Yeah, but then they're gonna say, you're outwardly, marginalizing them, making them wear this banner. It can be relayed back to slavery.
Gentlemen, welcome Lindsay to the panel.
Well, you can make it for women, right? Cis women have to wear it too, bro.
Yeah.
But see, that's too complicated. You should have it be able to be presentable, but not outwardly.
The most realistic point is you make it the law, and Arthur Dias said this, you make it the law, and anyone caught violating the law gets whatever punishment, just like any other law. And she then follows it up to say people, sneak around laws all the time.
Yeah, it's like trespassing. It would be similar to trespassing.
Yeah. You can't. You're not going to do a pants test. So
yeah, that one's always annoying how they bring up that ridiculous thing.
So you wouldn't do that.
Ridiculous.
But what you could do is simply say that if a person that is not a female is caught in the female restroom, because if they're doing something inappropriate, right? Like if a woman goes to the restroom and just normally uses the restroom, even if it's a dude dressed as a woman, you should never see anything, correct? Right?
Yeah.
But if a woman does, then there's a problem and something needs to happen. Lindsay, do you have any input? Is your mic working? Are you with us? Suspiciously quiet. So what you have to do is you have to go over to where it says mute, and there's a little arrow next to it, and you click that, and you'll get the menu for the sound.
Yeah, I think I had that issue the first time I came on Grid Show. Wasn't used to this platform.
Yeah. It's a very flexible platform, but it does take a little bit of tweaking.
Yeah.
Fairly easy to learn that.
It's better, Grid. We never had a further talk, but I've been setting mine up. I quite like it because I've done some stuff in OBS. So
OBS really and Streamlabs are very similar.
Yeah, it works really well with OBS.
It's built off of OBS.
While we're on a break here, while waiting for Lindsay, but I because I really did want her opinion. I actually really wanted Nev to drop in and have a good discussion as well. I'm going to acknowledge some people in the chat really quick. I see Julie Mumford out there. Good afternoon, fellas. Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate that. Arthur Daya has become vocal again. I'm assuming that she had lunch. Crazy Mama is in the house. That's awesome. Laughing Cedar. I'm not really sure that I've had Laughing Cedar in before. However, he says, or she says, I'm not really sure what that is. Apparently, if you have the certificate, you can strip search females if you are in the British Transport Police. And that certificate, again, is that you have represented yourself as a female, as a passing female for X amount of time, and you have a certificate granted to you by some government office saying that you are a trans female. Oh, we lost
one thing, if you don't mind. One thing I wanted to bring up is that this is a great rebuttal to what Chris was saying about marginalizing and such, is what Adamant said. It's like, so are you considering disabled people being marginalized by putting like a disability sticker in their window kind of thing when they're parking in the parking spots?
Yeah, but they don't always have to wear a sticker saying, hey, I'm disabled.
You don't always have to wear it. You just have to wear the lanyard when you're going into the bathroom. It's not all the time that you have to wear it. It's just whenever you're going in these women-only spaces, you have to wear it.
I like TR Finley here, men.
Yeah, but I refute that argument because on your car, you're not fucking there. So your car's just standing there. That's why you need the sticker. They don't need it in any other situation.
No, but your car, even if you're inside of it, you still need that sticker there. So, like, you're in a disabled person-only space, so you need to have this sticker. If you're going into a woman-only space, you need to have a lanyard.
Yeah, but why isn't it for it to be outwardly visible?
Well, you can't have your disabled sticker in your glove compartment box. You have to have it where everybody can see. Why do you need to have it that way? Because otherwise, you're going to have to be asking every single person that walks into the bathroom, are you actually a woman or not? Were you born a woman or not? Can I see your card? Like,
I think the only thing that makes any sense is if
why isn't your license?
If you're in
why isn't your license displayed on your car?
You're going too far down the alley.
Sorry.
It's very simple. If a woman is in the restroom using the restroom and she somehow figures out that you have your wedding tackle hanging out and she catches a glimpse of it, then more than likely you're going to catch a case. You know what I'm saying? Like you're going to, because at that point it doesn't matter. Right. Like, and Ticky Tack put urinals in women's bathrooms with sensors. If they're used, the cops get called automatically. That's pretty funny. But here's the thing, guys. So here's the thing. Put a couple of urinals in there and the dudes will just go use the urinals. And then, we got a dude. So you kick that guy out. That guy doesn't get to go there anymore.
Well, here's a time where you may see their bits, right? If you have explosive diarrhea and you're running to the stall and you quickly close the door, but you don't make sure it's locked, and you go to pull down your pants and the door just slowly opens while you're mid pulling down your pants. There you go. That's an innocent way that you see somebody's bits.
I mean, your failure to perform has nothing to do with my. Look. No, I don't know. I'm not co-signing on that. I think that the only possible way you could enforce this is simple. If a woman catches sight of if you are passing as a female and you're a trans person and you walk into a ladies' restroom and you use the restroom and somehow a woman knows that you're trans, regardless of how they know, to be honest with you, whether because you mentioned it in a conversation.
So you're just saying indecent exposure, Grid, basically.
No, I just clarified. It doesn't matter how she knows. If she knows because you told a coworker that you're a trans person, okay, that you're really a dude, and then she is coming out of the restroom while you're going into the restroom, then and she reports you, then that's it, right? Like you,
Well,
even if you're passing, you've made people aware that you are not a female.
yeah, but there's guys that go into women's restrooms, sit on it, spank their meat a bit, right? Moan and all this and that. So what if there's a guy that does that? There's a transgender woman that goes in as well. The woman says, I heard them moaning and groaning and spanking their meat. It turns out it was the other guy. It wasn't that person.
Both guys catch a case.
Guilt by
I like your
association
thought,
or
dude.
something.
Wait, I mean, I'm not going to discriminate here. There's two dudes in all you just told me is that there's two dudes in the men's or in the ladies' room.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
guilty
It's
by
tough.
association.
So look.
I think
If
it's good.
Mike
the first one.
Obama walks into the ladies' restroom in the house, then we know, he's gonna catch a. I mean, there's gonna be a case caught. Somebody's going to prison. I mean, not prison, but the court.
Yeah. No,
It seems like a really simple thing to me, right?
No, Grid, I do think, even though I don't agree with the outwardly displaying it part, because that, dude, I promise you, just how me and Fani just thought about it, you see how that became an issue? They could do what I did. So that's why I also took that other side, because I actually agree with it. I don't give a fuck. Right? But
Yeah.
I'm trying to propose the other side. So if you just say a card you keep on you, it's going to be very hard to dispute that. But as soon as you say outwardly visible, now I have something to fight you on, right?
Yeah. So here's my thing though. So just because you have a card doesn't make you harmless, right? So
yeah,
I disagree with the UK standard. I'm saying the UK has a standard, and for them it seems to work.
Yeah, but the thing is with the card, remember the same way
Hold on. TR Finley, no, we're specifically talking about the restrooms in the House of Representatives. This is a specific case.
So, Grid, I would say, right, especially if you're in the Senate or political office or these things, similarly to police, right? You gotta do a mental assessment, right? And with driving, you need to have your eyes checked. So I would say maybe you could add a psychological test to see things, and then a bit of a background check before you get your card, right? To just kind of establish the safety of the person, not just saying, okay, well, you look like a chick, here's your card.
So in general, I have a fundamental problem with any type of licensing that requires exams or testing or anything like that, because I believe that I don't believe they're constitutional, and therefore we shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, but Grid, licenses for cars and for cops and for many people, medical, lawyers.
Yeah, I don't think they're driver's licenses personally, but that's just me. I'm one of the few.
Yeah.
I think they're unconstitutional. But then again, driving's not a right, driving's a privilege. So here's the thing. All the things that you're talking about are privileges, not a right. A person has the right to go to the bathroom, right? Now, whether or not they have the right to go to the ladies' room, that's a whole other thing.
No, nobody's got a right to a bathroom, Grid. There's a tree. Go do your business. You ain't got a right to a bathroom. There weren't always bathrooms.
It's illegal to crap on a tree if it's in the city.
You Americans are so soft. Just go crap on the tree. What's the problem?
Yeah.
I'm not traveling, Michelle.
A lot of places you're not even allowed to spit.
Fair enough.
If I saw a man in a dress using the men's restroom, would I wait for them to leave? No, I would go somewhere else. I would do. I mean, you were here first, bro. I'm out. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm gonna go find another one. And then I'm gonna probably
you wouldn't take the urinal right next to them, Grid, and strike up a conversation while having a whiz.
You know, in my younger days, I probably would have been like, so how's it hanging? You know, something like that. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yo,
I've mellowed in my older age, a little bit, not much, a little bit.
Grid, there's
Yeah.
unisex bathrooms all throughout the capital.
I know. This is such a
What
non.
the hell is the point of this whole freaking? These people are so entitled. It's ridiculous. Just go in the unisex bathroom, you freaking wackadoodle.
Yeah, no, I get to use
That's
whatever.
why I mentioned it,
But
dude.
you have to understand, though,
Yeah.
guys, you have to understand, though, as the leftists have for a long time have pushed the agenda that you should be able to use whatever restroom you want. That men should just be able to walk like full on men that look like men should be able to say, I feel pretty today. I'm a woman and I'm going to go in the women's restroom right behind this 12-year-old girl.
Grid, you know what's a nice thing to question them on to check their morals? You should ask them, how would you feel about a biological man going into a baby changing room without a child? How would you feel about that? If the bathrooms don't matter, these private spaces don't matter, what if a dude just goes into a baby changing room and he doesn't have a baby? How would you feel about that?
Yeah, they very carefully look. See, here's the thing, though. You can go kind of a field on that, but the problem is that the debate prompt doesn't really give you a good way to go there, right? Like, it's not talking about and Scott's hang on, I'm gonna message Scott that I'm actually discussing this.
Yeah, I don't get any of this. It makes no sense. Unisex restrooms, the fact that like a high majority of them are single sex, like at a time, like one person is able to use them at a time anyways. Like, I don't understand any of this nonsense. Like, why even push for gendered bathrooms? Who cares if they're gendered or not if they're single occupant?
Why don't you just get one of those like outside, like the construction worker cubicles for them?
Because of like feminine hygiene products.
Hold on. Do you guys know why we have specific women's restrooms in the U.S. for the most part?
Because they have those nice perfumes.
Is because women felt that the men's room, the generic restroom, that men left the restroom too foul, too nasty.
Yeah, they piss on the floor and stuff.
They just don't want to sit on wet toilet seats, Grid.
Yeah. And they did, right. They didn't want to.
Meanwhile, women will dribble on toilet seats, crap on toilet seats, leave crap.
Dude, I've seen women's bathrooms.
They'll flush their feminine products down the toilet. Like, I've heard so many horror stories.
Even have it there. It used to only be the restroom, right? So I can see. All right. So, and one of the things they're going to bring up is if you have a very feminine presenting trans dude, would you want that person to go into the men's bathroom with a bunch of raging lunatic politicians, men, whatever? And I would be like, no, I would not. But that's why they make unisex bathrooms, and that's why you can, answer the call of nature elsewhere other than men's restroom. So, yeah.
Yeah, looking into this, it doesn't seem like they have a number of bathrooms there issue. So pick another damn bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, it all boils down to entitlement, because like if you make all these arguments about like unisex bathrooms or having like single occupant bathrooms, all their crap falls to pieces. Like, they just want to push themselves in areas that are not desired.
There's a lot of interesting ways to refute this. I think we've ran through a couple now already. It just surprises me the level of like trying to bolster or force their way into these spaces where there's so many good arguments that can be made, and their only arguments hinge on such poor presuppositions that They just grasp at straws. It's completely grasping at straws without
It's
logic.
just whack-a-mole. Do they have
Yeah.
whack?
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
It's just
Once this
whack-a-mole,
issue
that's all?
gets solved, they'll just bring up some other
Bring
random
up-
made up issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like living with a freaking woman that's never pleased with anything that you damn well do for her. She's always going to be bitching no matter how many times you solve her problems.
Dude, they should put cell phone cameras in every public restroom. Fight me
You
on
all
this.
know it's true.
Fight me on this.
That's why you gotta find a pleasant woman to marry. That's why I've waited so long.
Yeah, no, you know what? The outlaw the use of cell phone cameras in public bathrooms in the TikTok trend. Absolutely, man. But then again, where are the hookers going to have a place to take pictures?
Wait, outlaw the use of cell phone cameras in public bathrooms. I thought that was illegal. It's a camera in a
Clearly,
bathroom.
Clearly, Damien does some parkour that he films himself doing in the bathroom.
Yeah.
You're literally recording yourself doing a crime if you're doing that. You're not allowed.
Ghost 1978 says he's going to start shitting on car windows because he's a bird. He self-identifies as a big bird.
A patriotic eagle, not a big bird.
Yeah, but am I crazy? Like this is already illegal. Like filming yourself in a public restroom. Yeah. Like I don't know any country.
Well,
on
I
earth
think
that doesn't
filming
have
in
that
a
rule.
bathroom should be illegal. That should definitely be illegal.
Even your own at home. Enough. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, no, I think
Freaking-
I think it's going to be an interesting debate. I think the leftists are going to do typical leftist things, and they're going to make it identity politics. It's going to be, I think it's going to be interesting. But at the same time, I think that it's going to be really difficult for them to really nail us down on it. I mean, they've worded the question so that they should be able to. I really feel like they've loaded the question so much to the left that it's going to be an uphill battle all the way. But I think,
but that's good. It makes it fair. It just makes it fair.
Oh, wrong button.
Might as well help them when they have the shitty position.
No, hang on. I got to take. You guys talk for a minute. I got to take.
Yeah, that's also funny. That's why I was like, I don't even want to ground stuff or go into the intricacies of these debates. It's one of the topics where I'm so over it because I'm like, I don't even understand how this is still a thing and how you guys can even keep making compelling arguments. I'm kind of like, just leave it now. Like, isn't there better stuff to debate over where we can still like kind of try? Like, why are you debating a side you know you're not going to win? That's what I don't get. It's such a bad position.
Yeah, like I said, I think the easiest way to just eliminate this argument, debunk the brain scans. You're muted, by the way, Grid. Debunk the brain scans, and then it just comes all down to self-identification. And if that's the case, there's nothing stopping anybody from self-identifying as whatever the hell they want at any point in time.
Because they feel pretty.
Yeah, that's all I would do with any of these stupid issues. Like, that's why I said to like Mel, like a lot of these transgenders that are like more activists, like Mel and stuff, they're so ignorant. They don't even understand their own research. If you look into it, it's crap. Because like I was super curious about if any of this was like truly found anywhere. Sorry, go ahead, man.
Oh no, they do understand it. They just don't want to reveal all of it. They pick and choose.
Fair enough.
It's like a buffet, right?
Yeah. Whether they're that dumb and ignorant or whether they're that malicious and dishonest, whatever. I don't care. They're misrepresenting the facts.
Yeah, always.
Guys, I only have 2 minutes left technically, but let's start winding the show down. Let's give some final thoughts, comments on the entire show. You know, we covered a few subjects today, and I was really good. I need to find somebody to send everyone to. So let me see if I can do that while you guys chat.
Yeah, so I thought the show is really enjoyable because a lot of it is stuff that I care about. especially the first part, because I really hate all these idiotic people that talk about climate change and stuff and have it where it's like the only solution is to have stuff like carbon tax. And then when you look at carbon tax, it's just leading into the second topic that we talked about today, which is all this transgender nonsense, because they use the carbon tax to fund all the propagation of stupid feminist ideologies and all this gender nonsense. It should be called gender confusion, not gender identity. Like, they're literally trying to confuse people in society and cause mental disabilities that weren't there in the past.
Yeah.
Sickos. These people are literally evil. Like, not necessarily the ones that are suffering from it, but the ones that are propagating it are literally evil.
Yeah, no, it is. It's the inversion. It's literally one of the core tenets of demonic nature. Is as above, so below. The inversion of things, flip the cross upside down.
Yeah.
It's that. It's invert everything that's good and twist it.
Yeah, which is I think this started back like it's always been going on. Don't get me wrong. But I think a lot of people, they look at things like, oh man, that's sick, deadly, man. And they take these things that have negative connotations and they're using them in a positive way. Or when you'll see, like in a movie, they'll be doing horrific visuals and they'll have all this happy, pleasant music. We're not realizing that we're warping our brains by mixing up these like evil, negative things with positive feelings. It's literally affecting you on a neurochemical, like on a neuron level that we should
neurological.
Neurological, thank you. The synaptic level. You're literally making these new connections where you're wiring something that is disgusting, bad, evil, all that crap. You're wiring it towards a pleasure center of your brain. Like, people are looking at these things as very simple. It's like, oh man, don't be so serious. It's just like a movie. And it's like, dude, like, it's literally messing up your whole view on reality. You're like gay Barney. I'm being super serial, Grid. Don't be a hater.
I'm sorry I laughed so hard. That was
Who let Melanie in?
That was funny.
Oh, I accidentally did that.
Where that was awesome. I can't believe you did that.
Oh, you're so silly. I can't believe you haven't heard it before. I accidentally did that when I was trying to argue a leftist in my family. And I was like, oh shit. I didn't mean to actually like do that. It's just when you're talking to them about these issues.
Call you gay without calling you gay.
You guys, is this really where the arguments are going now? It's like,
you sound more feminine than Furby.
Yeah, bro, you need one of those long sticks with the cigarette on the end if you're gonna be talking like that. And just imagine that voice.
Instead, he's like, I'm more feminine than all of these other women on panel, and I'm like, dude, I can also talk like a feminine little fucking muskrat if I wanted to.
I have to say this: does anybody not find it super suspect about the fact that, like, people like that are claiming that they're wanting to, identify as the other gender, yet Furby has literally admitted that they don't practice using the feminine voice when they're on panels. They just say, screw it, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you talking about?
Exactly,
you reject.
exactly.
If this was actually like something that was important to you, you'd be practicing the voice nonstop, because that's how you actually have it come second nature. So obviously you're just LARPing. You just want to have another freaking thing on your laundry list of victimhood so that you can have everybody freaking like bend to your whims, because anytime anybody gives you any pushback in life, you can just pull out your freaking Rolodex and be like, yeah, that one will fit the situation.
Barney, do you know what the best thing is? It's I've seen a couple of videos of especially like gay dudes where when they're under anesthesia and they come out where they're like, yeah, dude, yeah, what's going on? And it's like a fully male voice until they like come back.
Yes.
And then you hear the voice start changing and you're like, what the hell?
And then somehow they have a lisp and it's just like totally natural. I'm sorry, the anesthesia like messed with my like vocal cords. That's why.
This is too much, guys. We gotta go. Barney,
you're gonna take all great viewers away, Barney.
Chris, give us your final thoughts, and then we'll do Farney, and then we'll get out of here.
I
By
would
the way,
say,
Farney, never mind. Go ahead.
yeah, I would just say, Gred, don't let them drag you into the weeds, especially with like these debates. Don't give them an inch. Don't give them an inch. Don't let them go into the weeds, and keep them on prompt. Keep them on prompt so they don't go into the weeds, so you don't have to refute all their little straw man spurging that they're gonna do, because they're gonna do that. As soon as you start making good points, they're gonna pivot to try and win. So keep them on topic, and just stand on your side. And yeah, good luck. I don't even have to tell you that, but I know you're gonna kick their ass. It's fine. I've debated you.
You have, and I don't let you drag me into the weeds, and you are a much better debater than they are, so they don't stand a chance on that one. He does try. He'll try and get you way off in the weeds with nonsense, and I'm like, no, come on.
No, don't grant them shit, Grid. Don't grant them shit.
That's right. I'm not.
And if they do that, say, how does that relate to the topic? Back to the topic, similarly to what Andrew does. Answer my question.
I had to do you guys today because I know how you guys work. All right, thanks, Chris, for being on the show. Always appreciate it, guys. He has a channel. It's been spammed. He is adding content soon. He has promised that he will do better.
I was supposed to stream to now before I came on your show, but I'm like quickly busy on the last thing. So definitely tomorrow I'll be streaming.
Make it happen, Captain. All right, Barney, let's get your final words, and we'll roll on out.
Yeah, so I did say a little spiel earlier. If you're Canadian, vote Pierre Poilievre. Seriously, we're not like he's like the most base guy I've heard in all of Canadian politics ever in all of history. I've read some amazing talking points by him. Stuff like he's literally trying to make it so that our bills are easier to understand and not overly complex. Like it's just all these common sense legislations where if a politician is saying stuff like that, like I could trust you more than the other politicians, maybe not more than the average person in society, but then other politicians. And then, yeah, basically like with what Chris said, yeah, Grid, keep it down to like handful, like maybe 3 points on each one. And that's it. Like get really good inside and out, understand any sort of place that they can take your argument somewhere else and have it always loop back to showing why your premise is true, like why your conclusion with your premises is true. And just stick on point that way and you'll dominate any debate that way.
And Barney, I just want to say like what you said, you have to get them. So when you give your presuppositions, Grid, you have to get them to agree.
Yes,
that's the
exactly.
thing. If they spurg, bring them back. Answer the question. You have to let them concede on your points. Don't let them run.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So you just keep getting them to say yes, 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 and then leading to a big yes at the end.
That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for having me.
I appreciate you coming on the show today. I'm especially encouraged by the fact that you did not use any biblical arguments in your it's a great thing. I think that a lot of times there's a tendency to just, well, God says so, and that's that just opens up. Well, it can turn a 2-hour debate into a 4-hour debate if you take it through to the end. Where I've watched Andrew do this, and he's convinced me that it is the better route, is to just say, okay, this is my worldview, but I didn't. And they'll say, well, you said this about Christianity, and no, I never said that. You inferred it because you know what you're doing is wrong. But I never said, and I really 100%. The fact that you made all of the arguments today without referencing any biblical things today is awesome to see. Well done, sir.
Well, I can do it. I just deeply care about God, and
I know
I want to have people understand that everything that I'm saying that is true and you agree with. Guess what? God already did this for us through revelation. These are not things that He left us to be in a state of confusion about. So I hear you and I understand. Easy said the same thing, like Barney, drop all the God stuff. It's like,
Well, it's
I'm
not that
not-
you need to drop it. It's that it's the way, you know, it gives an opening to where people can come in and just
As soon-
extend it out, you know.
You're giving out a personal thing about you that shapes your morality, and it becomes an attack vector.
Yeah,
That's
but I
the
don't.
issue. You don't want to give them armor. You don't want to give them bullets. That's
I
the
don't
point.
believe it is a personal thing. I think it
No,
is a universal
I understand.
fact. So
I
there's a
understand where
big
Farney's
difference
going,
there.
and to his
Yeah.
credit, generically Farney wins, even by doing that. It's just
Thanks, man.
it extends the argument. It's and and Farney and I talked about this before, to adopt Andrew's technique of admitting, yes, I'm arguing this from a Christian worldview,
Yeah.
but not necessarily using saying, well, God says this in this verse and God says this in that verse, because that gives them the ability to say, well, I don't believe in your book, therefore who cares? And you just don't. We're just say, hey, well, I never said that. It's my worldview, but the fact remains that I'm calling you on this because of this. And that's a much better technique. And I really appreciate Farney
Yeah, you're welcome.
today
And
actually
thanks.
doing that.
Great. I found a
Sure.
good one, and I think Farney heard it. It's what I hit Mal on with when we debated evolution. You just go, my books are older than your books, so shut up.
My books are over. Yeah.
Oh, that's actually pretty good. Yeah, Darwinism came way later. Yeah, man.
Yeah, my
They
book's
always
older
want to
than
go
your
to
book.
oldest being the right one. Yeah.
I just like to save those appeals. Anyway, Barney, really appreciate you and Chris and Tiki Tack and everyone else that came up today. You guys have all been great. It's been a great show. We started out in one area. We went completely across the board to another, which is the aim of this show is not just talk about one topic for 3 hours. It's to just hit those points and move on. I will be on tonight, same channel. Look for the announcement. It will be in my Discord for sure. I will be on with Prime K's, and it's called The Reverie. It is on Twitch, I believe, and I don't know where else he streams it. But if you want to watch it in my channel, it'll be here. It is at 8 p.m. Eastern time and 7 p.m. my time, and we're going to throw down on some degenerates. What we're going to do. It's me and at least two other libertarians and maybe another conservative. And then a bunch of liberal people like Ghosty. I don't know that Ghosty.
Just watch it here. Watch it here where you are right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Prime is just on Twitch, but he'll be live. It'll be live on Twitch. It'll be in all kinds of places you can find the debate, but come here and watch it here. It'll be great. And to everyone that stuck around the whole time, I really appreciate it. I'm going to go rehydrate and get some lunch and do some other cool stuff. In the meantime, I'm going to leave you with Andrew Wilson laughing his ass off while you guys go be cool, wear glasses if you need them, and get off my lawn.
Yeah, now I just answered your question. Can you tell me what epistemology means?
Epistemology is the study of the epistles. I mean, you can. I told you that a husband and wife is supposed to be the representation of God and the church. He said he's a husband. I asked him if he sees himself as the embodiment of God, and he said no. That doesn't make any sense.
Wait, what is the epistles?
The epistles are the apostles. Are you talking about